Daytona International Speedway, a racetrack located in Daytona Beach, Florida, about 50 miles north of Orlando. Since opening in February 22 in 1959, it has been the home for the Daytona 500 and the most prestigious race in NASCAR, as well as its season opener event for the Belly Up Sports Cup Series. Hello, I'm Gerald Campbell, and for our inner crew here, we welcome you once again for this 10th season in the running for the home place beer Daytona 500. We hope you're having a good Wednesday night, and we appreciate you joining us. Now, for our drivers and crew tonight, it is a bit of a reality show where the stakes are the Daytona 500, and up for grabs is the top two in qualifying are locked into place, while the others must battle it out for the starting spots later on in the duels following qualifying. And at the end of tonight, we narrowed the field down to the top 43 spots, and all others are knocked out. We appreciate you joining us. Joining me today, David Huckleberry, the producer, myself, Gerald Campbell, and my secondary here is David Westergreen. We appreciate you folks. This is a truly spectacular racetrack. As we stated, 30-degree banking, and all comes down for tonight for a lot of these open drivers. Here is tonight's qualifying format. Single car qualifying, one at a time. Each driver is given one lap, and they must follow it around the racetrack here. As well as, I believe, as we just stated, the top two drivers are locked in on qualifying spots. The others will have to go to the duels to race their way in. And the pole, and I believe the pole winner, the leading open car will make the race. So only one car from the open field will lock themselves in through qualifying. The other two spots that are left for open will be determined in their respected duels. Well, Dave, I'm excited. David, I don't know if you are ready. I know you just got into here with us. They are lined up, ready to get going here for the start. We have, I believe, 59 drivers going to be going out tonight for 43 spots. There are going to be a lot of drivers that are going to be look forward to seeing how this all plays out at the end of it all.
Yeah, we've got a lot of guys in this open group to keep our eye on. We got a couple of several guys who I know are running the full season. Both Shift Esports Cars and Gavin Hibbs, Ty McIntosh are running the full season. Pretty sure Josh Adams is running the full season. I know Carlos Acosta, broadcaster extraordinaire, he's looking to run the full season. And I believe Nick Massey's also participating in the full season. So a bunch of those guys are at risk of missing this race. And, I think there's also a couple of pole threats in this group, right? I mean, Garrison Hogan, Josh Robin, a bunch of these guys are all racing to qualify into the Daytona 500, but they're also, racing for the pole, and some of them are even racing for a championship. And I think the pressure is on a lot of this group, and it's going to be the first, I think, 17 drivers that go out right here. So as we start with Frank Fodi, I mean, we'll be bringing guys up, but this first group is maybe the most important group of the night because we do lock someone into the Daytona 500 after the 17th qualifier here.
Yes, as you stated, Frank Fodi on the racetrack for Lake Norman, one of their rookie drivers, is attempting his first ever Elite Series Cup race. Going to be trying it out here at the Daytona 500. Unsponsored, running the reverse numbers of his son, Fodi, our previous year's champion. So we'll see here if Lake Norman's going to have a good bullet right off the bat here. And as he gets to the line, this will be the start of qualifying, folks. And we'll see how this Camaro does coming around the racetrack.
Frank is definitely new to iRacing to some degree, and he's going to have growing pains. But he also finished 5th in our preseason Thunder race last week and was very much he's in a learning phase right now. So this qualifying run, it's all about learning. He's going to figure out what he did wrong. He's going to be able to go back and look at it. And he's been a longtime supporter of Elite. He's watched the broadcast. He's watched, his son's streams. He's wanted to get involved. And, certainly an underdog, fan favorite, I think, will be Frank Fodi this season. We'll see a lot of him in all of the leagues throughout Elite. And it should be a fun time watching this guy learn and grow and develop. And He's got one of the better drivers in Elite in Tyler Fody to teach his son. So looks like Frank's going to be up on the board, and we'll get going.
49.35 Frank Fody just set. And as you stated, interesting to see how an unsponsored mobile like his goes around here. He's going to have some good talent being able to try to help him out to get around the racetrack. Next up is going to be Gavin Hibbs. He's driving for Shift E Motorsports. And we'll see what the first look of the Fords out here. They just got an update with their new body style, and they do look pretty sporty out there.
Yeah, I don't think that changes anything. You might have to correct me if I'm wrong. I think this is just an aesthetic change for iRacing's, perspective on things. Obviously, the real life cars might drive a little bit different, but I believe this car will drive almost identically to how it did before. And Shift Esports, Seth Rawls, they typically put out good paint schemes. I think Gavin designed this one himself, and he's, I believe, technically an Elite Series rookie, so I've raced with Gavin a number of times. Really fast guy who, he's a little bit wild out there, and that's the kind of thing you're going to want to see when it comes to Daytona. You get that aggression up, get the desire to go lead these races. I think Gavin will be up front when we get down to the duels later on tonight.
Yes, he just set a 46.36 or 49.36 out there. Next up is Ty McIntosh, also another Shift Esports driver. So they got two of them lined up back to back, both of them open drivers, hoping to at least be set up in different duels if one of them does not get the top qualifying spot in open. So that way, at least both of them have a shot separately to go for a one of those locked in positions in the duels.
Right, and Ty should be another guy who you'll see up front tonight in those duel races. He's going to be aggressive and going for it. Joining us now, of course, is Chris Wright, who's going out. When are you going out, Chris? 28th?
Yeah, about middle of the road.
Yeah, so do you think you got a shot at the pole? And then what's your plan for the duels tonight?
Well, I think we got about as good a shot as anybody else, but based on the clash the other night, I think the duels are going to be pretty crazy. We'll see what happens. Looks like Ty just knocked Frank off the pole for now. Pretty good lap there, I thought, for Frank, based on what we did in practice. I felt like these middle threes might be the pole, but based on them running it right off the drop here, I think might get down into the twos here for this pole.
I think so.
Well, one driver out there right now going around driving the newly sponsored the Simply Racing podcast. Just got sponsored by us with a marbles race in the podcast, and he had the luck there. He's going to try to see if he can have the luck tonight. Actually has the most poles in Daytona, Josh Adams does here, so we'll see how he does for 21 Savage Autosports here. And this is going to be a good time to see how fast it is right now.
And Josh will be the first one to tell you, he's lost a little bit of something with this next-gen car qualifying at super speedways. And he's not locked in tonight, so he was really hoping to be able to make a good qualifying run, figure it out, and not have to worry about it in the duels.
Coming off the bottom here, I don't know if that's going to work out for him. Let's see what he gets. 32. There it is. Adams knocks Ty McIntosh off the pole. Ty had volunteered to take an interview, and since he's already gone, I figured we could bring him up first and make him the first kind of driver interview that has already qualified. And while we watch Carlos Acosta, broadcaster extraordinaire, let's bring Ty McIntosh to the booth. Ty, you volunteered. You were, you tossed me a tweet today to give yourself an opportunity to get this interview in, and obviously you just got knocked off the board. But what's your plan going into these duels tonight? And you got anything for him with your teammate down there?
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. It's going to be interesting. Obviously, it's kind of an awkward time. I was just showing my frustration for having a race tonight. But yeah, no, it should be fun. Gavin and I, if we end up in the same duel, I hope not, just because we're only getting one person from each duel. It'd be nice to get us both in there. But yeah, I should have a pretty fast car. I feel like these plate races, I feel pretty decent most of the time. I think it's just a matter of getting back used to the next gen and not being used to running with these guys, but not in the Elite Cup car. So it's going to be kind of cool.
We've drafted together with this next gen car a couple of times. Are you, even if Seth Rawls and Nick and Delicato get into your dual race, you're going to be able to work with those guys, pair up, and go to the front?
Oh yeah, I mean, and especially with them having charters, it makes it a little easier to. Obviously, I know they're gonna wanna do their thing and try to win the race, and I'm gonna try to do my part to help. But I think if we have a shot to get both of our cars that have to race in, we'll probably do. I think we got a shot.
Sounds good, man. Well, I think you're technically an Elite Cup rookie as well, Ty. So you're looking forward to going out there running, the full distance next Wednesday.
I mean, especially if we make it, I think it'll be fun. Having to race my way in to every race as of right now, it's a challenge for sure, and I think that's what I'm looking forward to the most. Is it's going to make me have to grow as a driver, as a qualifier, which sometimes I'm good at, sometimes I'm not. Just going to be a fun season.
Awesome, man. Well, congrats on being the first interview for this broadcast team tonight, and good luck out there in the duel. We know you're unfortunately not locked in, but you're going to have a good starting spot, I think, based on kind of these qualifying times are going. So good luck out there, buddy.
Thank you.
I thought Chris Wright was the first interview.
Yeah, Chris is popped in here. He's going to be hanging out with us, I'm sure, for a little bit.
Yeah, I'm just part of the crew, boys. That's it.
Yeah, he's Elite Racing network. Chris Wright. He's a guy we can talk to all the time. Anytime
he's on the ground crew. He's getting us live feedback. I got to say this 43 car is for William White, absolutely beautiful. I really love the blue around that lower grille. That really stands out when we get a little closer to it. It's a really sharp looking car out there.
Another new nose, this Toyota, and I think this is probably my favorite new design. The Ford kind of looks the same but a little chunkier. The Toyota looks way different, and I like how sleek it looks on the nose. It really does take the stock car and make it seem more like a race car, and that's not always great. But William White knocks Josh Adams off the pole there. That's a fast lap too.
That's a really good lap, and again, that's something we're going to be seeing. From what I've been hearing from a lot of people, the longer the racetrack, the qualifying session goes, the quicker the times will pick up. So these guys that had to qualify in the beginning, probably not too happy with the low number that they got, and we'll see if William White's qualifying lap here is going to be able to hold up.
And all these guys are open cars too, right? The first 18
yes,
guys, I believe.
First 18 guys, yeah.
One gets locked in, so every time somebody gets knocked off the pole, that's basically somebody getting knocked out of the race and having to do it in the duels.
Absolutely.
And oh, by the way, one guy in each duel. So.
Right. Yeah, only 3 of these open drivers are going to make it into the 500, pending, of course, the potential for guys dropping out with other commitments, which has happened in the past. So fret not, open drivers. If you're tuning in, there is a chance you can get in. You got to go and race as well as you can in this race and see what happens as Nick Massey unable to unseat William White. Do you guys want to bring in Gavin Hibbs?
Yeah, let's go ahead and see if we can bring in Gavin Hibbs here. Gavin, do you have us?
Yes, I do.
Ah, perfect. So it looks like you're going to be having to race your way in through the duels there. Real quickly, what do you expect here? Are you guys prepared over on your team as far as how you guys are going to be able to work your way up to the front and find yourself atop of a mini elite open drivers and race your way in?
Yeah. I was expecting this to not qualify in on time, but just can't seem to get the qualifying down around these plate tracks as good as everybody else. But my goal, hoping to have 1 or 2 of my teammates in there. That's not Ty, so just stay out of trouble and work my way up to the front when it comes to crunch time, and hopefully we're the first open car to finish.
Now, most people don't like pushing rookies whenever they see someone's a rookie in a league or anything. Do you feel like you got a little bit of respect out there? People may know you a little bit more than maybe in some of the other series that you've ran with the lead. Do you have that confidence that people aren't going to just leave you out to dry?
I hope I don't get left out to dry, but I can respect a lot of these veteran guys and who's racing the Cup Series for years and years to not push a rookie. But seeing some of the people as well that I've raced with in various other leagues across iRacing, I'm hoping some of them would work with me to help me get there, but that's only time will tell.
Hey, Gavin, just so you know, I'll be in one of these duels tonight. I can be bought.
Money always solves the pushing issue.
Once we get done with broadcasts here, or once we get done with qualifying, we can discuss numbers.
I would first check before you pay him, make sure he's in the same duel.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Gavin, for joining us up here. We hope you hope you have a good race, and hopefully, like I said, we'll be able to see you up there. Maybe work with some of your teammates. I know you guys got a full cast of crew for being able to attempt this Daytona 500. So more likely you'll have at least one or two in your duel with you.
All right. Thank you, guys, and go have fun up here.
That's Gavin Hibbs, one of our rookie drivers, trying to find their way into the show here.
Send him back. Saw Corey Abbott go P3 while we were talking to Gavin in Lightning McQueen paint scheme. We got Colin Culpa out there now. Miss anybody else? Oh, Garrison Hogan went to the top of the board.
Garrison
He actually bypassed.
To the top. Yeah,
actually bypassed William White, so that may lock Hogan in, and Hogan might be a pole type of run right there for Garrison Hogan.
We'll have to see. We still have about 7 more open drivers trying to get their way in, and from the list that I have in front of me, we have some heavy hitters still coming up. We got Josh Robin.
Yeah, this is one of them.
We got Robert Smith, Andrew Hardcastle, Brandon Keith still has a chance to get up there.
I'm gonna tell you, this car on the racetrack is a big bullet.
Yep.
You'll have to dodge.
Yep. This guy's real good at qualifying on these play tracks. He runs that Dale Jr. car for a reason. Does Josh Robin. He's always fast on these play tracks. He's a guy you could probably pencil in as one of your maybe 5 favorites as a guy that could win this race next week.
Now, I don't know if I'll follow him in any of the duels tonight, because the other day in the Clash, he had a problem staying off the wall when he was running that top line.
Yeah.
He kept finding it, just right rearing it. It's like it was Darlington or something.
Oh, I was a part of that Clash race, and we're you don't want to miss anything. After this qualifying, we will be going into the duels after a short intermission, and you're not going to want to miss that. If it's anything based off the Clash, we've got 2 exciting duel races that are probably going to end up with someone hurt or upside down or both. And there's a good shot of all that happening, just based off of how difficult these cars are going to handle once they get into a big group. But Josh Robin just went out there, set the 4th fastest time here. Here comes, I guess Crunchyroll. It looked like a Miami Dolphins paint scheme from the side. Andrew Hardcastle out there for AM Racing.
Yeah, one of the team cars to Corey Abbott, who just went 3rd. William White, who's 2nd. So, not quite the same kind of style of qualifying as what is real life Cup Series qualifying at Daytona, where all the team cars tend to gather together. But you would expect Andrew Hardcastle to be one of those guys pushing for this pole and to knock Garrison Hogan off. Though, like I said, that lap is going to be tough. Josh Robin only able to go 4th quick.
Now, one thing to note is that qualifying is not locked into the spots that you would think for the duels. It's not going to be just even and odd. They do have to go through and separate and be a little bit fair with the amount of open drivers for each side. So by no means, once qualifying is over, that you qualifying in the inside row means that you qualified in the first duel. They will have to go about mixing it up just a little bit. That way it's not like 2 drivers going for an open spot and 12 going for the other open spot. They want to make
we just
a
had
little
an
bit.
issue here.
Oh, Brandon Key. I think they're going to probably let him do a do-over there. I don't know what was going on there. That was a close one. A yellow car started coming up right in front of him, and that almost ended very badly.
I think Robert Smith went just a little bit too early there, and I think it's going to be all right. I think he had to make a little bit of an evasive maneuver, but they are going to give him the lap back, so that's good.
Yeah.
So Robert Smith skipped in line a little bit. We'll go to Robert Smith next, and then we'll come back to Brandon Key.
that is yellow. And luckily
Yep.
it was that yellow because Brandon Key couldn't miss him, and that was probably for the best. He saw that bright yellow car coming up on racetrack, and luckily both these guys still have a car to qualify in.
I'm surprised Robert didn't reset as well. I feel like he kind of was trying to move out of the way too.
Ultimately, I think the speed loss at 0 miles per hour and the speed loss of having to change your line entering turn 1 on your fast lap are a little bit different. I think Robert will be all right. And maybe if he did lose any speed, any penalty would be that that speed loss coming onto the track a little bit too early.
I do think that we only have a couple more going to be qualifying here for the Open. I believe Brandon Key is now back onto the racetrack here to attempt his qualifying. So very shortly, we're going to see if Garrison Hogan got very, very lucky here with his qualifying run, and see if he's locked himself in for this race.
It'll be Hogan, Smith, Key, or Tyler Dixon would be the 4 still with an opportunity to get in, and Smith across as the slowest of the 14 drivers who've taken time so far. We'll see what Brandon Key can do with a reset.
Nice pretty paint job for his vehicle as well. Got that candy red on that 41. If anyone knows Brandon Key, they know that there's a number rule for a reason, and you're only allowed to keep one number for the season. So this year he's chosen the 41. We'll see how that fares for him.
There is a bet going around the garage area about when he changes his number for the first time this season.
Well, the rules are you're not allowed to anymore.
I had my hand on the kick button.
Oh, we'll see how he does here. I think, do we have any more open drivers going down
I
the
believe
road here?
RC is going to be an open driver, right?
He's
Anderson's
listed.
locked into the race.
He's listed as
Tyler
charter.
Dixon if
Yes,
Tyler's in
Tyler
here.
Dixon. Yeah, Tyler Dixon is the final open driver.
Yeah, so it's Key, Dixon, or Garrison Hogan to make it in. Key across the line, and will slot in 6th. He will not be locked in, and it'll be down to Tyler Dixon in the Virginia Tech car. Then we'll have to see if we can't find Garrison Hogan and pull him up. Presuming Tyler Dixon doesn't knock him off the board, pull him up, get an interview with the open driver that has made it into the race.
Can I make a football joke that this car's only good for half a lap and then it falls off?
Yeah. Wow.
Anything to bash
You
another
can.
ACC football team, huh?
Well, we'll see how Tyler Dixon's doing here on his lap. Yeah, we will wait before we pull up Garrison Hogan. We don't want to bring him in and then have him immediately kicked out. But yeah, yeah. As far as either one of these drivers, good lap times here. 31 is a very quick time around here.
If Tyler Dixon was blaring Enter Sandman all the way through, he might have been. It was up to 4th quick, but that is
so
not going to
close.
be enough.
So Garrison Hogan has locked himself in on qualifying here.
Send him to the
So
waiting
he
room
will
and we
make
can
the
pull him
Daytona
up.
500.
And we will
And that
start.
lap's got a good chance to stay on the front row. That's a really good lap.
It is. Let's talk to the potential front row starter and definitive starter for next week's Daytona 500. That is Garrison Hogan. And Garrison, you're locked in, buddy. Congratulations.
Man, I'd like to thank God. The practice that I put in before this, that was the key. So I don't know, man. I was just excited to even see that I ran that good of a lap, and usually I'm not that good at plate track qualifying, but I guess I put one together now.
Absolutely. Well, again, you got in on the time, so now you can go out for these duels with nothing to lose. As Chris Wright was saying a little earlier, that's such a good lap that you may still have a shot here. You're not going to want to keep your eye off of qualifying because you still have a shot to be able to be the pole sitter here even at that time. But we'll see how it all plays out. How's your approach for the duels now that you don't have anything to worry about? Is it I mean, you saw kind of, if you watch back the Clash, kind of how a race like that went in these cars. Is it no worries, or are you going to try to stick in the back and guarantee some points at the end of the race?
Honestly, it will probably be just helping people that I know need that, I don't care where I start in this race. As y'all know, I've won it before, but in general, I have so much experience doing this now, and I just don't really have a fear as to wherever I start in the field, and it's all about having fun. So now I get a chance to go out there and have fun, and I mean, I'm not going to say I'm about to be the most aggressive guy on the track, but, if I need to be, I'll stick my nose somewhere a little bit, You guys will have to see.
Awesome, man. Well, congratulations on getting into this race, and good luck in this duel later tonight, and we'll see how far up you stay on this grid, because these guys are nipping at your heels trying to take down your lap.
Don't worry, Tyler Fody is over there giving out the cheese for late
your
morning.
ex-teammate there, Garrison. Your ex-teammate just about knocked you off.
Yeah, and there's some other fast bullets. Don't worry. We got some pretty good guys in qualifying coming up, so I don't expect to be on the pole, but it will probably be a pretty solid lap.
Again, congratulations. We hope to be talking to you maybe after a dual race, or maybe even the 500 here. But again, congratulations, and now you can sit back and relax for a little bit.
Yes, sir. I might crack open a cold one before that, too.
There you go. That's Garrison Hogan there. Won a couple races last year and a few of the Elite series, and looks to see if he can follow up some strong runs again this season here. R.C. Anderson out on track right now, one of those Pro Edge racing drivers that everyone's keeping their eye on. They feel like Pro Edge definitely has the track knowledge to get around here. But R.C. Anderson, I think he came out and announced that he's going to be attempting the Daytona or the Indy 500, correct?
I have not seen that. He probably is, though. I mean, this is a guy who's attempted it a number of times before. We're obviously cheering for him. Hope he gets into it, but he will not be starting next week's race from the pole. He'll wind up seventh quick.
And this is Chad Frankenfield's favorite driver right here, Andrew Rucker.
That's a few. That's a few different people's drivers, friends out there. Made some friends, I guess you could say, with some apprentices around it.
Now I saw them eat lunch together just this morning.
Yeah, right. But they went out to Applebee's together, I think. But running the SXM car, and see how he's able to do in his classic 64 paint scheme.
I just want to shout out these graphics over on the left side of your screen, right? The belly up colors, the orange cars being the open drivers, the blue cars being the guys who are locked in, the charter drivers. I think that's really, really cool, really well done. Props to our guys, and props to Belly Up Sports for coming on board this year. And we love having a good sponsor, but especially a good sponsor with good colors that make it real obvious as to who's been already locked into this race and who's an open driver. I love it.
Absolutely. Robert Hill's now out there, one of our other series announcers out there qualifying now for Abbott Motorsports. I think he just joined their team this season, so we'll see how he's able to do in his Camry. And as you were saying, Belly Up Sports joined us their first year with the Cup Series here in Elite, and I've been talking to them quite often with collaboration with the podcast and everything going on here, and they are super excited. Very excited to see what this season brings. Maybe get some new eyes into the area, into this series, and see what can be made of it. But yeah, a lot of bright futures ahead for both Belly Up and for the Elite Series here, as Robert Hill comes across the line at 49.32. So a good qualifying lap for him, but not able to get on top, as I think he slammed the wall right after.
One of my favorite paint schemes in here. Oh yeah, let's send off Chris.
Yeah, Chris has been being paged.
So I have to go and get ready to make my lap. Good luck here the rest of the way. I may come back. We'll see what happens. We'll see what kind of lap we can put down.
Good luck out there, Chris.
As you're saying, very, very, very beautiful paint scheme. One of our drivers here that made it into the Final Four last season was marked one of, I believe, the second in the Elite top drivers of the season, and that's of all of the Elite races, not just in the Cup, but all of Elite and all the series that it runs in. So definitely a driver to keep an eye on for the rest of this season, and his Blue Egg marketing number 92.
Yep. Ethan Stanley he's one of those guys you could have probably penciled in as maybe a favorite for the pole, but he's more of a guy who's I think going to be looking forward to the race. Is Ethan Stanley in that beautiful Mark Martin 2001 car. We got Justin Fortner on track. Let's bring old Robert Hill in. We'll switch out one elite Xfinity broadcaster for another. We'll send Chris Wright on track, and we'll bring Robert Hill up. Robert, P6, not going to be starting from the pole next week, but you'll have a pretty decent starting spot on this Daytona 500 grid. Do you plan to do your little Dale Jarrett strategy of dropping to the back early, or are you going to go race for it for this duel?
I'm going to the back, absolutely. Like I told my teammates, if I'm in the top 25 before about 30 to go, I've done something wrong. So we'll be falling to the back no matter what.
Patented strategy for you. Works out a lot, though. Didn't you win one of the elite Daytona races last year?
I did. There was a bit of carnage that came into play, but we always seem to find ourselves up at the front at the end of these things. So we'll see what we can do. We have some busy duels coming up. Got to work on getting my teammates in and one of my drivers in. So gonna be a busy night out there.
How much are you dedicating to, bringing, teammates or drivers into the field versus, trying to get a good starting spot yourself?
It's Daytona, so for me, I don't really care about where I start on the track. Obviously, I would have loved to be on the front row. There's some cool prestige about that, but definitely want to get more teammates into the show because strength in numbers is so big when it comes to these super speedways. So the more guys I can get into the show, the better.
But you do know that at the end of the duels, there are points awarded. So this is the start of the season as far as points being given out. But of course, that's for the top 10 for each duel. Is that the main goal? Just try to make sure you stick around, get some good points to start off the season here?
Yeah, I mean, if it comes down to it and I got to fall back a little bit to help one of my teammates get in, I'll sacrifice a run at those points. But at the end of the day, obviously, you want to start the season strong. And if you can add a couple points to your bank heading into Daytona, which is always a crapshoot, you definitely want to be able to do so. So we'll see what we can do to kind of balance the two of getting the teammates in while also going out there and trying to nab a few points.
Well, we do appreciate you joining us here, Robert. You can stick around if you like, but I know you want to get some of your teammates a little help getting in. But now, how many drivers did you guys have set up for this season for Mountain Man Motorsports? I know you got one right now on the racetrack here with us.
Yeah, Jordan's out on the racetrack right now. He's one of our 5 drivers. So we have Jordan Owens, we got Chris Wright, Nick Massey, who we're going to have to get in through the duels, Vincent Isabella, who luckily just got a charter this week, and then Johnny Thomas, who's always strong when it comes to these races.
And what about Hanshaw?
Yeah,
Hanshaw's going to be working with us. He'll be working as an affiliate, so we'll do what we can to help him out too. And actually, I got 2 of my cars on the track right now, as Chris just exited pit road and Jordan just finished his time. Luckily, he's locked in.
Well, they're going to have to put up the effort here. I know last season you got 2 drivers into the chase for Mountain Man Motorsports. Both Chris and I were able to get in. Hopefully, you guys can be able to get more of those spots filled in that playoff spot at the end of this regular season.
That's the goal, and it all starts with a strong Daytona. We'll see what we can do next week.
Thank you, Robert, for joining us here. As he stated, Chris Wright, who was in here just a moment ago, in his what's the sponsor there? It's
Chairgating.
Chairgating number 9.
Yeah,
like tailgating, but a chair.
Yeah, it's a podcast that runs alongside the Belly Up Sports group, and they've been a sponsorship for Johnny Thomas before, and they come over to Chris Wright for this Elite Cup season. So I know Chris is excited to get them on board. We've had them in a number of other broadcasts before, and they've got a good relationship there. So we'll see what Chris can do, and I like the way this car looks. I'm a sucker for number 9 anyway. It's always one of my favorite cars, and looks like Chris is going to be down the way a little bit. P13.
B13. Here comes out now David Tooker for Pro Edge Racing. Again, one of our front runners in the regular season that we see a lot of the times for Pro Edge. So see now starting to see some really heavy hitters for the regular season title. David Tooker is going to be taking another shot at that. I believe he made the top 4 in the playoffs this last season as well.
He's definitely been a championship contender a number of times in this Elite Cup series, and this is not the car I was expecting him to come out in. We've seen him in that kind of Martin Truex Jr. style car a number of times, but this is a new one, and it's a good color scheme. I really like it.
Yeah, it's a little like reminds me like a little bit like the 70s, you know, like the yellow and red and black kind of reminds me of the 70s a little bit, but I like it. It's a nice clean look, and that's kind of the point of Daytona. Whenever you come out here, you know, being able to see all the new paint schemes and putting names to paint schemes so much. You know, when you're out there going 200 miles per hour, you really can't just judge by a number or know who you're racing. It's a lot of times by the color scheme that they go with to reference who you're racing around. So in the duels, they're going to get a good sense of who's out there and, you know, who they know based off the paint schemes that they're going to be running tonight.
Absolutely. And then, you know, we while one of those interviews was going on, we saw Ethan Burrell. He did change over to Do Good Motorsports. He'll be teammates with this guy, Jeff Green, 2000 Busch Series champion Jeff Green. And Jeff's usually really good at qualifying on these plate tracks. He is definitely one of those names that these guys, Garrison and Ethan, are going to have to dodge when it comes to this qualifying for the pole, because Jeff's usually really fast when it comes to plate qualifying, because he's got a real Daytona 500 pole.
Yeah, he's also gotten a pole here at Daytona in the Elite Series, but just as well as a qualifier, he's well known for his aggressiveness and his ability to run really well in the big group of cars for these races as well. So not only for qualifying here, but also for the race, he's going to be one to watch, as he just went out there and set the 5th fastest time as of right now.
And that's a good lap, right? But we haven't really seen the track, you know, cool down and get to that point where we're getting a lot of guys jumping into the top 10. A lot of the guys that have run late have been kind of in that mid-pack group, and we haven't seen a whole lot of speed built up, right? You know, we still had, I think we have 4 of our top 6 are guys who went out in the first couple of spots. So, you know, Garrison Hogan's still sitting on the pole as an open driver, right? I mean, William White's 3rd, Corey Abbott's 4th still. So, you know, we were expecting to see a little more speed from these guys, and obviously we've got some big pole type threats coming down the way. But for now, we haven't seen that track pick up that pace, I think, quite like we expected.
Now, there's still a lot of time. I believe we have still over 20 cars left to go out in qualifying here. So it could still change quite a bit, but I think Garrison Hogan's probably pretty happy seeing how well his time has been holding up. But here comes the 3rd Do Good Motorsports car, and that's one of the owners there, Michael Goodman, coming out now in his number 44 car, see where he can be able to stack up. Now, I know these Do Good cars, they're all locked in. They would prefer to be all in the same dual race here tonight. I know they work very well on track. That's one thing I know from racing around them, is that when it comes to dual racing, they stick together when it comes down to it.
Yeah, they are. And, you know, I think, you know, Jeff, bringing Ethan Burrell into that group, I think is going to boost the potential for a guy like Michael Goodman and also Dusty Dewar at these plate tracks. Gives them another plate teammate to kind of direct traffic in that group, and their group's not on Discord, even though they told me they wanted to be pulled up for an interview. So I'm going to call them out here. They did not join where I can get them and pull them for interviews. But, you know, at the same time, right, this is a group of guys who I think can win some of these races and can really be competitive up front. And, you know, Goody's not going to always be the best qualifier. He'll tell you that, but he'll be up front when it matters at the end of these races.
Now out Johnny Thomas, a previous Daytona 500 winner here in the Elite Series. So definitely when it comes down to these plate tracks, he has it all figured out. Always seems to find his way at the end of these things. Running for Mountain Man Motorsports this season. See how he's able to do. And while you're doing that, I'm going to jump down and see if we can get a couple drivers in here real quick.
Yeah, do that, and we'll watch Johnny Thomas roll. I might even just go grab Oh, my boy Brent Jones. He did tell me he was willing to pop in. So let's grab him. While we watch Johnny Thomas go around, I'm grabbing Brent Jones. Talked to while Gerald went, and I believe to get the Do Good guys. And Brent, you're out there at the back, but you're locked into this race, and you're a guy who has, I think, a couple of top 5 finishes in this Daytona 500, right? You're a guy who can get to the end of this kind of endurance race style. What's your plan for tonight? You gonna ride in the back, or you gonna try to go up to the front and win yourself a duel?
Sounds like it's gonna be your current plan. Didn't do well in qualifying. I think I'm gonna have a good plate track qualifier. But the concern's like very little. It's been there, done it.
So you're gonna use your experience from running well in these Daytona 500s to go from back to front tonight, or are you just gonna chill and let the chaos unfold in front of you?
Looks like we might have to evaluate based on the field when we get the initial start. Since we're probably gonna start dead last regardless at this rate, a lot of the people qualified. So I'm more likely just gonna let the first few laps happen first and see where we go from there.
Be like Brock Purdy. You can be Mr. Irrelevant turned MVP candidate here tonight, Brent. And good luck out there tonight. Good luck out there next week. We know you locked in, but you did tell me you wanted an interview, so went ahead and grabbed you. That should work out.
Hey, cheers.
Cheers, buddy. Got Gerald back. Gerald?
Yeah, I got one here for us. He's always fun to talk to. He's always fun up for making jokes. That, of course, is going to be Michael Goodman here, as long as he's sitting at his steering wheel and not doing something else. But, hey, Goody, you got us?
Well, I could be at my steering wheel and do something else, too, at the same time.
Yeah, we usually know what that is, and it's never a good thing. But
well,
how you doing out there?
Perspective.
Yeah, how you doing out there, Goody? I know qualifying didn't work out perfectly for you here, but I don't think you guys were really worried about qualifying. I think it's the duels, right?
Yeah, for me it's the duels. I've never been able to put down a heater of a lap. I was kind of excited to see Jeff and Ethan out there. I thought they might have had a shot at the pole. They were working pretty hard at it, but fell a little bit short. But hopefully we'll make some noise in the duels. We'll try to get Key into the big show as well. I know he's sweating bullets since he sold his charter unexpectedly before I guess this week. So try to get all the Do Good boys in the show tonight for the Daytona 500 next week. But yeah, looking forward to it.
Well, not only are you a team owner, but you race, and then also tomorrow you're going to be, for the first time with me, you're going to be going and doing the podcast with me tomorrow. Are you looking forward to that? If anyone is watching here, maybe to tune in. You kind of got a brief idea of what we're going to be showcasing. It's going to be some pretty fun stuff.
Yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to it. But yeah, Mom and Dad, if you're watching right now, I told them about it for tonight's broadcast. But yeah, tune in tomorrow. We'll do the Simply Racing podcast. Looking forward to that. Have some fun, and I'm pretty sure we'll get into some shenanigans as well.
Absolutely.
You getting into shenanigans on Thursday night? That's never happened before.
Yeah, right? Impossible.
But this time it's completely sober.
Well, what?
What? Oh, yeah. What? You didn't hear the rules I made for how we do them?
Well, I don't. No, I'm out now.
Okay.
This is crap.
Yeah, I bet. Alrighty, Goody. Well, we hope to see you guys and race well in the show here, and then yeah, like I said, I was talking about how well you guys really work together and how you guys always focus and primary on just going about working together more than anything on the racetrack, and that means dropping back. You guys are willing to do that just to make sure you guys team up at the end of these things. Is that kind of the goal here again tonight? Is just to make sure Do Good is up there at the end one way or another?
Yeah, I think depending on how we get linked up here in the duels too, it's going to depend. I know Jeff and Dusty and Ethan are probably more the aggressors when it comes to these plate tracks, but certainly whatever kind of I'm always kind of just feel the flow of how the race is going, and we always try to at least work together, have some similar idea of come together at the end. I might kind of pussyfoot around and be in the back, but try to make my way up to the front. But it really all depends. But this draft package on this Cup car now is insane. So I think no matter what, if you're in the front, back, it's going to get hairy. So you might as well stick with your teammates as close as you can and just let the cards fall where they may.
All right, Goody, I got a question for you. You know, you guys technically made the biggest free agent acquisition of the offseason with signing Ethan Burrell. Does that change anything you're doing? Is that change anything Dusty's doing? Is he going to, give you guys assistance in ways that you weren't expecting in your short relationship so far?
At Daytona, it's kind of hard to tell, but there's a few things that, especially with the qualifying, even before we made our laps, I feel helped a little bit, but I still have a long way to go to really turn that around. But there's definitely, I think, a different mindset as far as the information being shared. I think, just to be honest, me, Jeff, and Dusty are the kind of the old guys in the bunch, so we're just trying to throw stuff at the wall and see if it will stick. But getting a guy like Ethan who has results and a lot of the race wins, I think can really get some better results for this season. I'm really excited to see what Jeff can do, because he's got the talent, the real life talent, and maybe getting some of the tech stuff out of the way, or some of the iRacing stuff dialed into his forte. I think he could be a guy that's really going to make some noise this year in the Cup.
Well, I'm gonna kick you out of here because I'm gonna get tired of talking to you by tomorrow. So.
Well, that's fair. But just before I go, I wanna just say that I'm glad that you and D West are doing the broadcasts here on Wednesday nights. Looking forward to it, and always enjoy listening to each one of your broadcasts when in your past endeavors. So now that you guys are together, it should be pretty fun.
Yeah, as long as we don't fight over the mic, I think we'll be all right. So
yeah, that happens.
Yeah, we appreciate you, Goody, and again, we'll talk later. And if anyone wants to tune in, you'll get to hear this guy all you want tomorrow at 8 p.m. on the Simply Racing podcast. You can find that on I believe it's Belly Up Gaming Sports, or Belly Up Gaming on Twitter, and it's going to be Belly Up Sports on YouTube. You'll be able to tune in to be able to listen to that and see some of the shenanigans that go on for the Elite Series here. But again, appreciate you, Goody, and we'll talk to you again later.
You bet. Have a good night.
You, Goody. I grabbed another guy. I don't know if we want to jump straight into that or maybe recap a couple of the names that we missed while we were talking to Goody. So Matthew Weeks go out.
Let's do a recap real quickly here, because we got a few drivers that have gone out, but really the top 5 have not really changed in a while. Top 10 really hasn't changed much.
You said that, but Jesse Erasmus just took pole away from Garrison Hogan.
He did, didn't he? Oh my goodness!
Oh, missed it. We're gonna have to go get Jesse Erasmus after. I wanted to bring up Johnny Thomas, talk to him. He's sitting 10th. He was one of the guys that went out while we were talking. Also on my record, we had Matthew Weeks go out. He's way in the back. We're gonna have to talk to Matthew Weeks, ask him what happened there. Michael Hosack, Trey Eidson, Joshua Personette all went out there while we were talking to Michael Goodman. None of those guys really jumped into the top 10 with the exception of Johnny Thomas, whom we can bring in right now. Johnny, you got me? It's David in the booth. Oh, me might be away from the mic.
I just got into the mic.
Oh, he got back. Let's go. Johnny.
Yes.
Top 10. You got any plans for staying up front tonight, or are you dropping to the back and going to kind of watch these guys go crazy?
Tonight, honestly, I'll probably stay as close to the front as possible. Just because there's nothing really to lose. I mean, the only thing you can lose is some points, but what is it, 10 points first, 1 point to 10. So I need to get as much racing experience as I can get for the 500. The package is a little bit different. I didn't run the Talladega race last year, and I think that's when the package changed. So I'm just trying to get my feet more wet, basically, to see what I can do. Felt confident in the open for the Clash, and then I kind of just wanted to ride back in the feature main event, and just didn't work out. But yeah, I think you'll hopefully see me up front in the duel.
Sounds good, buddy. Well, we're looking forward to it. You just got knocked out of the top 10 by Chad, but go out there, give him hell, and have a good night tonight, and we'll see you next week as maybe one of our favorites as a former winner of this race.
I hope so. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really confident. Join a new team with Mountain Man. So, and then shout out,
man,
Gerald's yelling. I think my dad's watching. So, my dad, he's probably watching. He's probably one of the multiple viewers. You guys got a good crowd tonight.
Absolutely, we're excited. Yeah, new pole sitter. Sorry, I was screaming over you, but Fody just laid down a really fast lap out there. And we look forward to seeing you out here, Johnny, and a big proprietor of getting Belly Up Sports to hear an elite, and very, very, very happy to have Belly Up Sports being able to showcase really well here at Daytona. So,
yeah, it's a great league and a really good partner. It's going to be a lot of fun this year.
Awesome. Thanks, Johnny.
Yep.
Send Johnny back, and with that, we have Tyler Fody goes to the top of the board. We mentioned him earlier, right, Gerald? One of those guys who's really notorious for strong qualifying on the plate tracks, and Fody didn't have the greatest of draws. He's in the middle of this group of cars, and he is able to run quick enough to beat Jesse Rasmus, not Garrison Hogan, off of the first row. But I think this is this is going to be an interesting development. We see Fody up at the front of these plate tracks all the time, and it's kind of to be expected, I think. And we'll see how it plays out. But I think Tyler Fody's going to be one of the favorites for this race on next Wednesday.
I think he got a good pull for where he qualified. You can usually judge where the track is at based off of roughly where your competitors are starting to qualify. We had roughly the last three before Tyler Fody all qualifying within the top 10, one of them taking over the pole position just before he did. And track must have just gotten right to the perfect spot for him. And this is classic scenario for Tyler Fody. Talk about if he's able to lock up the pole tonight and having nothing to worry about if he is able to get one of those top two spots. You will see a very, very aggressive Tyler Fody at the plate tracks. And when you see a race with Tyler Fody, he knows how to do plate tracks. One of our most successful plate track racers out there. So definitely interesting to see if that time stacks up. And if it does, then I would have to say all the other drivers are going to be a little bit worried if they're in the same duel as him.
Luckily enough, right, this is a draft race, so, you get a couple of teammates up there. Fody isn't able to gather with Scott Crump and Ethan Stanley, and you end up being able to go around him. It's not quite like some of these other racetracks we're going to see this year where, the pole sitter might have a big speed advantage on the rest of the field. It's a good thing, but, at the same time, we know Tyler Fody's good at these plate tracks, and he's going to be a favorite next week.
Yeah, defending Daytona 500 champion, defending champion of the Elite Series, listed number 1 in the Elite ranking systems as far as driver rating and everything going his way. Last season, everything turned up Tyler Fody. Finally got that championship, so yeah, absolutely. And he's going to be the guest for this podcast coming up tomorrow too, so we had a couple funny questions with him that you're going to want to tune in and see. But yeah, definitely a good start of the season as Dustin Dewar just set his lap time down as well.
Dusty 25th on the board down there with Chris Wright and Kyle Hanshaw. So Dewar will have to work his way up from the middle of the field, but he'll be back there with his buddy Michael Goodman. Your Seth Rawls of Shift Esports. I think this is the first Shift car since third car on the time chart. It's been a while since we've seen one of these Shift boards. Seth's one of those guys that's been around for quite a while, and I think he'll be aggressive in this race for sure. He's one of those guys you'll expect to see at the front of the field, pushing one of his teammates, because he tends to really work well with the team cars over there at Shift Esports.
I was hearing a lot of good thing about Seth Rawls. They say that this season he's got his mind focused on the game here, so I think you're gonna expect to see Seth Rawls running up front in some of these elite races, especially when we get off these plate tracks and come to some more normalcy in the series, and as far as tracks going, and we'll see how he's able to produce it as he just laid down and see what spot he came in. I think he pretty far.
He dropped
back,
in at
actually.
35th or 38th. Not the fastest lap there from Seth Rawls. One guy I wanted to bring up. Well, we talked to Matthew Weeks last week. We talked to Tyler Fody a number of times, and if he does win the pole, we'll talk to him later. I really want to bring up Jesse Rasmus, but his mic's showing muted, so we'll hold off on that. Here's Ryan Gavel running the Hux car for old Dave, the producer, who's doing a great job over here tonight. And Gavel, of course, he's one of those guys that you expect to be up at the front of these races. He's got a lot of skill, especially at the road courses. One of the plate drivers that when you give him a couple of good teammates like he'll have over there at Lake Norman Motorsports tonight, he'll be able to run up front. And my expectation is that Ryan Gavel is one of the guys we should be thinking about for a championship favorite early in the season here, aside from our normal group, because Gavel hasn't managed to pull one off yet here in the Elite Series, and I wouldn't be surprised if this was his year.
Yeah, that's one of those statistics that almost shock you when you haven't, when you think about it, with not being able to get the a win down here. But I have a feeling that this season he may be able to tick that off, especially with being able to sit there with Lake Norman last season, learn a lot, and he got some really fast runs in, and we'll see how that all plays out this season as well, as he just qualified in. I don't have it down. It's 18th, yeah. So about mid-pack right there.
I always call him Gavel. It's Dave's telling us it's Gable.
Yeah, we just learned
he'll
that
correct
last
me,
year.
I'm sure.
Zach Evans works with him, so he says he answers to
Right.
both, but we've been trying to get it right.
Yeah, and I think he's won some races before in this Elite Cup Series. He just hasn't gotten to that championship level, and we'll see what he can do. Up next, Trey Holmes, who I believe capped off. If he didn't cap off with a win last year, I think it was 2 races before the last one when Trey Holmes picked up his first Elite Cup Series win. I was in the booth for that one, and here's Trey once again, going for the Daytona 500 in the 88 car with the Dale Jr. Hendrick font. And I think Trey is one of those guys that would not surprise me to end up in victory lane next week.
Yeah, beautiful paint scheme for him, and Fueled Up Racing and him have teamed up again this season. He works very well with Pro Edge out there, so look to see Fueled Up Racing and Pro Edge work well with each other tonight.
I think Fueled Up Racing might have one of the better, groups of cars, right? You'll have Jonathan Cutlip later, who's made the Final Four last 2 seasons, I believe, for Elite Racing, and Trey's got now a race win under his belt. They'll have Garrison Hogan in the group as well, so that's aside from their.
Yeah, he's on track right now for Fueled Up as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think Vandermarl is one of those guys who can definitely break out a little bit, especially at these plate tracks. He'll have a good opportunity with a good group of teammates to run up front. And Casey Hatch making his return to the Elite Cup Series as well. That's a good group, and that's a group that can probably work together, and that's not just to stand aside from their relationship with the Pro Edge guys, which will definitely assist them going forward. Here's one of the poll favorites, I think, and then we'll try to bring up some more after this guy goes. But I think Scott Crump might be the one to take it away from Tyler Fody.
Yeah, Scott Crump is ever since his debut with Elite, he's been a front runner and aggressive, and not worried about hurting feelings has kind of been his MO. And Scott Crump for Lake Norman Motorsports looking to see if he can get the Blue Egg new sponsorship for him up front here once again, and maybe be able to make that Final Four like his 2 teammates did last season, and see if he can be able to see if he can go after a championship in the Cup Series, as he did that with the Truck Series a couple seasons back, but he's wanting to see if he can be able to accomplish that here in the Cup Series.
Trump's one of those guys that's really consistent, able to rattle off really good finishes over and over again. He'll be leading laps, and here we go at the timeline. He'll be 7th. He won't knock off Tyler Fody. That leaves Fody and Jesse Rasmus. And Jesse unmuted his mic, so I'm going to try to bring Jesse up so we can talk to him while Jonathan Cutlip goes out. Cutlip's definitely another one of those guys who is a got an eye on the poll here. But let's bring up what is currently the second runner, and we'll see if he's here. Jesse, you got us in the booth tonight?
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah, up there in P2 tonight, man. That might or might not hold, but for now, you're locked onto the front row of the Daytona 500. How's that feel? And what'd you do differently that all these other guys, except for Fody, couldn't figure out?
I really didn't do anything different. I was honestly surprised at the lap that I put in myself. So just ran it like normal, and I guess I lucked out with the weather.
Now, you've ran trucks for the last few seasons, and you've shown a lot of success into there. Now going to be trying to follow it up over here into the Cup season. How's the level talent changed from running in the trucks to and now a full stack field of these Cup experienced drivers?
I ran in Cup the last couple seasons as well. It's just I don't have the luck that I had in trucks last season and any other series for some reason. So the trucks, I had a lot of good finishes up until the playoffs, and then the bad luck kind of circled back around and killed me. But Xfinity and Cup, it's just, I don't know, it seems like I get involved in every incident, and it's unfortunate. So we're hoping to be a little bit more cleaner this season, try to stay out of the rest of the other messes that happen out there, and maybe we'll have a good season in all three series.
Agreed there, and agreed with running into incidents. I've definitely been my fair share of those, but Jesse, I want to throw in that your paint scheme looks really good, man, and do you have a painter you can shout out for us here, because that monster scheme was pretty sporty going around the racetrack. We didn't get to comment on it, but I really liked it.
Yeah, so the painter on that one's actually myself. Chad kind of warned me earlier in last season, late part of last season, I was actually working on an updated scheme, and he said that the models were probably going to change, and sure enough, right before we get to the duels, the models changed. So I'll be working on getting my other paint switched over. I just threw this together really quick last night, so I had something to run around the track other than just numbers.
Oh,
Gotcha,
you're going
man.
to make him a little upset that he's not going to get to see that paint scheme more often.
Yeah, break this one out a little bit more. It's pretty good.
Yeah, we'll bring them all out. I have 4 total that I plan on running this season, so we'll shuffle them around.
Awesome, man. Well, congratulations so far. You got a few more guys to dodge here, 3 more. So hopefully you stick on the front row and give them hell in the races tonight.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Speaking about paint schemes, this is one that you will not miss on the racetrack.
Yeah, Norgard, one of the Abbott Motorsports guys there, running with Corey, William White. And if this car and William White's 43 car end up drafting together, I'm not entirely sure how I'll be able to tell which one's which. They are very, very similar cars, both of them very purple.
It's like they're trying to take my take my theory away when I was running the Barbie paint scheme last season. Just go as bright as possible, and beautiful looking car though. But yeah, definitely if they end up running together, it may dole out everybody else's cars just a little bit.
I always try that too. Get the bright accents on there so other people can see. Here's a gold car that Harrison Talon is bringing out, and Jonathan Cutlip paints just about all of these fueled up 21 Savage and Pro Edge cars, and I think he also paints the Lake Norman cars too. And Cutlip's really he's the JD Designs guy, and he's got some really good paint schemes out here tonight. This is maybe my favorite one. I'm a sucker for gold and silver and those types of paint schemes, and this one is rock solid.
I hope you got to see Vincent's, because his was a beautiful gold.
Well, his is coming out next, isn't it?
No, Vincent went a little earlier. I think he came out.
Talking about a different Vincent.
Isabella? Maybe. Yeah, Vincent Isabella.
Oh, he's running right now.
Oh, he's on track right now. Okay,
yep,
perfect.
Last qualifier is old Vincent Izzy, and then we'll grab Tyler Fody, who is locked onto the front row, and this is the last car that Jesse Rasmus has to dodge to be the other front row starter. And Vincent is self-declared as not being very good at plate qualifying. I love
Vincent
this car though.
Yeah, I told you you would.
This is another good one.
Very nice, pretty.
You told him he missed it and it had already gone.
Well, I was just trying to get his hopes up, and now look how happy he is. He gets to see it out on track here. So,
Yeah, I know.
beautiful number 3 paint scheme there for Mountain Man Motorsports. They all have some really nice paint schemes this season, and that's some of the most fun we have for these qualifyings. Just to get to have that lap to appreciate the driver's paint scheme and the effort that goes into going about getting them made. And I mean, perfect opportunity to go about showcasing it for the before the go through the blender that we call the duels.
Yep. So now we will go and have Chad and the other admins reset the starting order and figure out where we're going to put guys for the duels. It won't just be first is inside, second is outside, with the exception of Fody definitely being in Duel 1, Jesse Rasmus definitely being in Duel 2. Those are your front row starters. They will start next week's Daytona 500 from the front row, and I will go grab Tyler Fody, the pole winner, and bring him to the waiting room.
He's already here. Yeah.
I was grabbing him.
Oh, okay.
Let's send him in and get him there. Tyler Fody, the Daytona 500 pole winner. What number is this now for you, Fody? This has got to be at least number 2.
Yeah, it's second pole. I think 5th front row start. So I'm happy.
Yeah, I mean, what did you do in the what'd you do in qualifying that all these other guys couldn't figure out, buddy?
I think he was wanting to tell you.
Can't say, but just happy to be here. That's all I can tell you. Good stuff.
What a Kyle Busch quote there. I just hear so I don't get fined. But new paint scheme, new font numbers. I know a lot of people were happy about the new font numbers, but new paint scheme, new design for you guys, and it looks good. Is it good for you to get this poll wrapped up and now you can just focus on this duel? I was kind of hinting that when it comes to the duel and you being locked in, that that's when Tyler Fody's going to be the most aggressive.
Well, you got that right. It's I'm super relieved. I don't got to worry about anything. I've had to run these duels a couple times, not being locked in, and it sucked. Just being on edge the whole time. But no, I'm gonna try and help some of our guys here. I got my dad and Robin, who are open. So see what we can do with them. Hopefully we get it shakes out and we can get in the same duel with each other. But you mentioned it. I do want to shout out Jonathan Cutlip and JD Designs. He has played a massive role with the team over this off season. He's painted probably 20 cars, if I had to guess now. He's done all of our ARCA, truck, Xfinity, and Cup. So, and even back to the late models. He's done everything for us. So I'm super happy to represent him on the car with the sweet new paint scheme. We got the new font also, which I know everyone hated, but the old font did get a championship. So I will say it did one thing good, but we're back with some new stuff. So super happy and looking forward to the year.
Awesome, buddy. Well, congratulations on the pole, and we'll look forward to seeing you start from the front row next week. Leading them to the green should be a good time. And yeah, go see if you can't help old Frank get into the show tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
That's our pole sitter, Tyler Fody. I'll send him.
Well, looks like qualifying is all wrapped up. Now, folks, you're not going to want to go away. You're going to want to be able to stay tuned. We're going to go away for a little bit. I believe if Dave, I believe we're going to be closing this lobby, or are we going to be, or the broadcast, or is it just going to be an intermission here?
No, it'll be right here. I'll just put up a starting soon while I change
Okay.
the iRacing lobby, and we can get a drink, and
So
I'll get set up.
Yeah, so don't log out. Stay right onto here. We'll have a little intermission while we get the lobbies all set up. We'll see exactly where your favorite driver is going to be starting in Duel 1 or Duel 2, and we'll figure out how this all plays out, and we're going to be crowning some Daytona Duel winners and locking some people in for the 500 here. Don't tune away, and we'll be right back. It all starts here now, folks. Gatorade Duel number 1 is just about to get underway here as the Cup cars are lining up. My name is Gerald Campbell, your lead announcer. Joining me here today, David Huckleberry, our producers, showing you these wonderful scenes here at Daytona. Also joining us tonight, David Westergreen, my co-announcer here tonight, going to be helping out with being able to provide all the fun that you will see here. Cup cars just now have lined up, folks. We're going to go ahead and go through the field here. Starting in the first position, our Daytona 500 pole winner, Tyler Fody for Lake Norman Motorsports, able to get the pole and attempt to try to see if he can go after another Daytona 500 championship. Our second place driver, and now locked into the Daytona 500 as well, is Garrison Hogan, one of those open drivers. Ethan Burrell going to be starting in the third position. Corey Abbott fourth. Jeff Green fifth. Robert Hill going to be starting in the sixth position. Chad Frankenfield, Josh Robin, Ryan Schold, Leighton Norgard in the 10th position. R.C. Anderson starting 11th. Brandon Key 12th. Wyatt Canadle 13th, Andrew Rucker 14th, Dustin Dewar 15th, Andrew Hardcastle going to be starting in the 16th position, Joshua Personette 17th, Seth Eager in the 18th, Carlos Acosta 19th, Justin Vandermeer 20th, Michael Goodman 21st, Seth Rawls 22nd, Jordan Owens 23rd, and Gavin Hibbs 24th. I think we have a few more. Yep. That is going to be Harrison Talon in 25th, 26th, Casey Hatch, Brent Jones 27th, and Nick Indelicato in the 28th position. I think that's the final spot, almost like you would see in a normal race lobby here. This is just a duel, so this is duel number 1. We'll have the same amount of cars for duel number 2 as the pace car is coming back around here to get the start here. Real quickly, David, are you excited about this? What do the folks have to look forward to?
Wild race. crazy pushes with this new draft package. We should see some aggression. We should see some guys fall to the back. We talked to a bunch of drivers. You know their strategies. We'll see what happens and how this thing plays out.
Alrighty, folks. I'm looking forward to this. I know you will. The pace car is down. They are going to the start line here where the racing gets good and the good gets racing. Let's start this season right here. Green flag is out at Daytona and we are underway. Tyler Fody able to get going there on the bottom lane with a push with Ethan Burrell right behind him trying to get that bottom lane going, but on the outside it's already starting to show the effect of some good pushing up there as well.
Corey Abbott and Robert Hill, a couple of Mountain Man cars there, or Abbott Motorsports car and a Mountain Man car. Those guys are teammates. They're going to be working with Garrison Hogan, trying to push that outside lane to lead. Hogan drops down to the bottom. They'll take it over in front of Tyler Fody. And they'll drive it down into turn 3, 2x2 all the way back. They're minding their P's and Q's so far. Everybody's pretty stable, nothing crazy. We're going to get a lap under green.
Yeah, some of these drivers got a little bit of a test of speed and test of courage in the clash earlier this week on Monday. We saw some really good racing there, but we also saw just how hard it is to handle these drivers here. So right now we're seeing them play nicely and drop down to the bottom and try to run the lap counter down here. 50 laps for each state or for each dual race here. And it's a lot of laps, David. I think these drivers know that right now.
Yep, got Kachow, Corey Abbott out front. He is an open driver being pushed by teammate Robert Hill, broadcaster extraordinaire. Hogan and Fody tried to go to the outside. Fody went up and got in front of his teammate Josh Robin. I think we're going to see a lot of teamwork in this race. We've got 5 of the do-good cars. That's all 5 of them, mind you. In this one, Tyler Fody's already with his teammate. We got a pair of teammates up front. Got a couple of Pro Edge cars in this race. I think you're going to see those teammates try to kind of merge and work together over the course of the race. But you're seeing that top line is not going right now. Inside line is kind of dominant right now, all behind Corey Abbott. And we'll see if they fan out again and go too wide. But the pole sitter has fallen back early.
Yeah, that's something that we kind of saw showcase in the Clash there. It takes a little while for the outside lane to get going, and it's all based off of how well you're able to do the pushing there. And if you're not lined up just perfectly, it slows you down more than anything. So as you see a driver just now jump out to the outside, I think that was Robert Hill. Yeah, Robert Hill dropping back, trying to see if he can pick up. Oh, maybe going 3 wide here. It looks like he doesn't want to go all the way up to the top just yet.
Robert's a curious case there is that he wanted to go to the back, did Robert Hill, and what makes that odd is that his teammate Corey Abbott's leading the race, and if he had stayed in line there and run second to Corey Abbott, I think he would have been in good shape. But as it stands, he jumps to the top, tried to go to the back of the field, but he winds up in front of Garrison Hogan, and he might be finding himself on his way back to the front.
Yeah, right now leading that outside lane. So right now, Abbott Motorsports is leading the top lane and the bottom lane. So I don't know if it was by design, but right now it seems to be working out for them here. But driver that may be trying to peek out there, Ethan Burrell. But I think he might be staying in front of his teammate there in the Do Good Motorsports camp. So it's going to be interesting to see how these teammates are able to partner with each other and work with each other. I think the whole listing of how these guys are going to approach it is maybe the first 30 laps. That's all they're going to be testing out is how they're able to work with each other here to get to the.
Absolutely, in the middle, and we lost the stream on our end, but
yeah, Dave.
Hopefully it's still up on the broadcast.
Yeah, you're fine. Hold on.
Yeah, it's still going on to the broadcast. I'm watching it here. Really good racing side by side up front here. Looks like now Fody able to get with his teammate, get back up there to the top side with looks like Josh Robin trying to help get that outside lane going. So it is starting to form a little bit on that outside. As
there goes Robert finally. Robert drops to the bottom, and I was going to say Robert lied to us, right? We just talked to him, and he said he was going to fall to the back. He finally has done that and fallen to the back, but he had been up there helping his teammate. He even led a lap, I think, did Robert Hill. So a little more front running than I think we were expecting from the 63 car.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, again, this all starts tonight as far as the season goes. There are points awarded for the final 10 or the first 10 positions in the running order at the end of the night. So 10 points going for whoever wins the duel, all the way down to whoever finishes in 10th gets awarded 1 point. So the season starts now. So these drivers are starting to play a little bit more cautiously than they did, say, in the Clash here. And maybe some of their focuses are towards trying to make sure they can make it to that end point and have a chance at this point.
Yeah, and not only that, but you've got a number of guys expecting to run the full season in that open group. I think including Josh Robin, including Corey Abbott, including Garrison Hogan, who did lock himself in, but he can lock himself further in by being that first finisher of the open group. He's currently leading the outside line. Abbott's teamed up with teammate Leighton Norgard there on the bottom now. So with the dropping of Robert Hill, Abbott finds himself another team car. And Do Good Motorsports driver Brandon Keys up in the top 10 now, as is Andrew Hardcastle. So a bunch of those open guys have kind of migrated to the front. Another guy who's moving forward is Nick Indelicato. He has come up from all the way in last starting spot. He missed qualifying, did Nick Indelicato, but he's, I think, third or fourth car on the outside line there. So that 10 car is certainly pretty quick and has moved forward well. He's not seemingly afraid of the big wreck.
Well, if you want to take a look at the color coding next to your favorite driver on the side there, they are color coded for a reason. The drivers that are already locked in based off of having a charter system are the drivers in blue. The ones in orange are the ones that we consider open drivers. Now, we just said Garrison Hogan, who is right now leading the race, has locked himself in based off of time, but he can be able to also go out and lock himself in with being the highest finishing open driver. What that entails is the second highest open driver then takes over that top qualifying spot, which would be William White, which I can guarantee you right now, he is the biggest Garrison Hogan fan in the world right now. As you see that top lane break up quite a bit, looked like someone tried to get that middle lane working, and it did not, and that broke up that momentum up there.
And that's the 3-wide TV car of Indelicato. Tried to shoot the middle on Brandon Key. It did not work, and it just stalled out the outside line and allowed that inside line to surge forward. Now R.C. Anderson's going to jump to the top, and Key's going to the bottom almost.
Oh boy,
Gets
that
turned
was
by Kevin Hibbs.
Yeah, that was a bad bump. You really don't want to be bumping in the middle of the turns. These cars are already hard enough to line up the bumpers, and that is not where you want to get a bump, is in those middle of the turns there.
Seeing those the big numbers that the Do Good guys had. They got 5 cars in this race. We have not seen them be able to hook up yet. Michael Goodman hanging at the back of this pack. So is Dusty Dewar. Dusty Dewar's hanging at the back of this pack. So those guys have not been able to pair up and get all the way to the front just yet, where they can kind of flex their muscle. Ethan Burrell, Jeff Green, they've been riding on the bottom lane. I'm waiting to see if those guys can maybe all get together and work together, because that's a big numbers advantage if Do Good can find a way to get there.
Absolutely. Again, R.C. Anderson now working his way up there to the front here. Now Fody got some big names for sure in this grouping here. So the group 1 here for the Duel 1 is some strong contenders, not just here for the race, but for the championship. R.C. Anderson having a good run. Fody, I believe we have Chad Frankenfield in there, Ethan Burrell. So some really high dollar names in this heat to really get us a good aspect of how the racing in this plate package is going to work out for us.
Throw Casey Hatch's name into the mix there, running in a 11th or 12th spot right now, 4th car on the outside lane. I think 5th car on the outside lane. He's having a really good run early, pushing forward on that outside. He's been one of the members of that group that has gotten that lane going and surged forward. But now, as I say that, the bottom surges forward, and guys like Wyatt Nadel and Gavin Hibbs, start coming closer to the front. So it's changing really quickly here, and just about as quickly as we can process and talk about it. The Do Good cars have moved to the top. Green and Burrell, they jump in front of Tyler Fody. That might surge the outside line back forward, as now here comes Brandon Key.
Yeah, Do Good leading that outside lane 3 cars in a row right there. So here comes Do Good. Going to see if they can try to get their open driver there, Brandon Key, up to the front and see if they can contend to get not only the win of this duel, but maybe another driver that they can have to team up with for the Daytona 500.
Brandon Key obviously sold his charter to Vincent Isabella. We kind of got there from talking to Goody, and oh man, big move by Key to cut 3 wide, and you saw
loose. Oh boy,
Corey said enough. He dropped out. Brandon Keys ends up getting Ethan Burrell hung. They almost wad him up on the back straightaway. Everyone makes it out okay.
I think Brandon Key thought that was going to be a wreck, and he got off way too much. He has lost the draft completely. He is way behind the pack. To be fair to Brandon Key, even though he's dropped back so far, there is still a good chance at a wreck here. There's still 3-wide racing all through the pack here, as drivers are probably trying to catch their breath. That was a scary moment with Brandon Key there. Got really sideways with that aggressive move he made, but right now he's still trying to take that lead. He's still sideways.
Oh man.
Oh boy, Brandon Key just needs to find someone to just drop in front of and take a breath.
Yep. And now Anderson giving the bump draft to Brandon Key in the middle of the corner. Tyler Fody's bumping Jeff Green in the middle of the corner. And Corey Abbott lost the draft, right? You can see the ticker down at the bottom. The Lightning McQueen car is not with the draft anymore. He will go a lap down, I think, if this race stays green for any long period of time. But that would be a miracle from what we're seeing right now. Brandon Key leads R.C. Anderson and Leighton Beauregard. And out the back, we're missing Corey Abbott now from the field. He was an early leader of this race, and he is an open driver. He's looking for a caution.
Absolutely. Again, I think he was expecting something, and it did not happen. As he's losing seconds, multiple seconds a lap here, so he's going to need something to happen. Now we will have, if the car does not come out here, some green flag pit stops here. We do know that these drivers cannot make it on the fuel that they have in the vehicle. They will need to make a pit stop at least one time. Most of the drivers hope it's only one time they need to come down pit road. As you see that outside lane starting to surge, we're getting some new contenders and some new names up front. Nick Indelicato, starting from pretty much dead last, 28th position, now finds himself up front here. It did not take him long to get his name up in contention, as Jeff Green now drops down to lead that bottom line.
and pick up his teammate Brandon Key there. And Delicato was using the side draft pretty liberally down there in turns 3 and 4. That's why I got a little surprised. But now another new name to the bottom of the racetrack. Andrew Rucker takes over the top spot, jumps in front of Jeff Green and in front of those do-good cars, and we'll see if Rucker can hold the lead. No one's been able to yet, and Fode's going to give a big shot to Indelicato, who also pulls down to the bottom. Wild racing here in this one. That draft is pretty clearly a gigantic benefit, and it's something that you're just going to have to kind of ebb and flow and ride the wave of momentum, because as quickly as you can take the lead, you can drive all the way to the back.
Let's go ahead and see if we can go on board with one of these drivers. Which one do you say? I want folks to see why they see this point of view and they see them zigzagging down the straightaways, and they got to wonder, why can't they just keep it straight, you know? You can't just see the line and just follow it straight, but let's see if we can go on board with, let's do Andrew Rucker here.
I was going to say Delicato, and
yeah, that's
my mind. And Delicato's got to be the pusher, right? He's second in line on the bottom as Casey Hatch takes the lead up there on the top in the 14 car. And Delicato's got to, he's kind of offset to the right, which is what you do want, but he's got to keep it, bumping and touching this 40 car to push it forward. And you see they have cleared Casey Hatch. So now if Indelicato gathers a run on Fode, he can take it to the top. And that's a product of that bump draft that we saw down the front straightaway.
Now the wind and the draft plays a big factor in how these cars handle. And when the draft is getting all disturbed in front of them, it does make it to where it is hard to handle. It is hard to be able to keep square onto the back bumper. And that zigzagging you're seeing is just drivers trying to line up their bumper and also fight with that air to be able to stay in line. And the line that is able to stay together the closest, as well as being able to keep it the straightest, is usually the line that's going forward 3 wide. That was a risky move by Andrew Rucker, as he did not give Nick Indelicato a much chance there to find a way to get through that turn. But luckily enough, they are able to keep it straight. But that 10 car is going to drop back quite quickly.
Yeah, that risky move is Andrew Rucker's middle name, right? I mean, a 3 wide pass there, definitely a move that did not. It's not going to be looked favorably on by the fellow competitors, but it's a move that gains in for Andrew Rucker, and it yields a net negative for Nick Indelicato. And Rucker's going to do that move every time, right? He's an aggressive driver. He's more than happy to take the space when given to him. It's the old saying, right? If gap, car. Rucker saw gap, he went and took it, and now he's running second, and Delicato's back in the field.
Now, I was stating this to David earlier there, that Tyler Fode, he wanted to be in the same grouping as his father so he could try to work his father in. We're kind of a little bit glad that he was not able to team up with him in the in the duel, just because now Fode has nothing to lose, and aggressive Fode is a entertaining Fode, and that's what we're going to see here in the draft up front here. And I can almost guarantee you he's going to pick whatever line leads him to being able to get into the lead. And you see right now battling side by side there with Casey Hatch, one of those drivers that David, you kind of pointed out earlier.
Yeah, I'm super excited for Casey Hatch, right? I mean, he's been away. He hasn't been running full time with the Elite Cup Series, and even when he does, he doesn't always get some recognition and get a ton of love. But what a performance so far, right? And Hatchie is a guy who's run for a long time, right? Ever since I've been here, Hatch has been there, and he's get up there. He's drafting with Jeff Green. He's running the top lane. He's being pretty safe, pretty cautious right now. And Brandon Key cut to the bottom. He's going to go for the lead on him, and Key's definitely racing aggressive. He's the only open car in the top 10 right now, but good move for Hatch, good moves for Key. Couple of guys leading these lanes we don't typically see at the front of these Elite Cup Series races.
Now, roughly around 34, 35, I believe a lot of drivers were telling me, is roughly where the fuel point is you see Fode really getting on the back bumper of Key there. Oh boy, that is a shove that 40 car is giving Key. But roughly around 34, 35 laps is the fuel mileage that these drivers are going to be taking a look at. And if they get there, I think we'll be pretty lucky. But if they do, we may be seeing some green flag pit stops. And I think, actually, David, that's where more than anything that the teammate part of this whole aspect is probably going to play the most effect there.
Absolutely, yeah. We see a couple of those team cars up in the top. You know, I think technically Harrison Talon is a 21 Savage car and Jordan Owens is a fueled up car, but those guys have worked together a number of times in the past. And Owens is Mountain Man, but you know, those guys have worked together well in the past. They're both now running up in the top 5, and you know, Owens is a former dual winner here for this Elite Series, and I expect he and Harrison Talon to certainly be giving it some go. But man, Hogan trying to take him 3 wide. He covered it off.
Wide. Yeah, almost 4 wide. It was looking scary there. Drivers are trying to find their way up to the front. Right now, the outside lane is booking, and we kind of saw that in the clash earlier in the week. Once that outside lane starts to really get a chugging along there, especially on the long run, I don't know if it's all just handling or such, but that it's hard to get that inside lane going, and right now you're showcasing it right here perfectly. That outside lane's going to have the advantage here for a little bit, unless if something changes up there.
I'll tell you what I think it is, and you know, you correct me if I'm wrong, since you did run the clash, Gerald, but you know, the inside line, it's very easy to get side drafted, get pinched down, and not be given a whole lot of room. On the outside, you feel kind of free. You can go up to the wall, you can drive the middle if you want to. You have a little bit more running room up there, and it's a little bit more comfortable. So, you know, generally when I'm going out, even in the Xfinity car or the truck, whatever, I prefer to run that middle lane just because it's a little more comfortable. Right on the bottom, you're very cramped in, you're pinned down to the bottom of the racetrack. You really don't have anywhere to go. Outside, you can go middle, you can go top, you can kind of, I don't know, it feels a little more relaxing to ride the top in these giant packs.
Well, as a guy that wrecked trying to make it and go in the middle, I would not recommend it for anybody. The middle, I don't know what it is with this new draft package. The middle is almost non-existent. You get side draft from both ends, and it is like a vacuum cleaner. It's you're the little toy soldier, and that middle is mom's vacuum, and it will suck you and shoot you right out. It does not help very much to go into that middle lane there, and you see it right there. I mean, the drivers are so far apart from each other. The bottom lane's all the way down to the bottom as much as they can. The top lane is as high as they can, and now that's going to be leading to its own set of problems with how high those guys. We saw it in the clash. They're running so high. The higher you go, the faster it goes, and sometimes some of those drivers, they just go a little bit too high. So that's something we're going to have to keep an eye on, especially with, oh boy, who is that trying to make it in the middle? Nick Indelicato there.
Yep, Indelicato, who's always very aggressive at these plate tracks. And he and Hogan, Hogan also has taken him 3 wide. So those two are definitely impatient there for a round 10 spot. Oh!
I was just about to say we're about to see the vacuum cleaner turn on. I think can we use that, David, for the rest of the speed weeks?
Absolutely.
We'll just call it the vacuum cleaner because that's all I can think of is it just sucks you right to the back. So yeah, as far as he was able to get back up, he tried it. You know, he got a little idea of.
Hibbs hit the wall in the middle of 1 and 2. He got off of it, didn't actually lose any ground, but almost another incident there. And you know, to your point, Gerald, my guy DW, Darryl Waltrip, he always called it the sucker hole when the driver went in the middle and went all the way to the back.
There's no real way, good point of putting it without it sounding dirty in some way, but
absolutely.
So no, we'll have to keep an eye on and see again that outside lane. The more we run, the closer we get to the fuel stop area, the more these cars are going to not handle very well, and the more you're going to see some of them slide up. And that may be playing a factor into why the bottom lane's starting to work now, is those drivers are having to lift a little bit on that outside lane maybe. Oh boy, Fody is also probably playing a big factor into why that outside or that inside lane is working so well, because he is relentless on the back of that 41 vehicle there.
Yep, and I want to mention, we do have a crowd of drivers hanging off the back of this front pack, playing it safe, right? Robert Hill on back on your ticker. Those guys are all hanging off the back of this pack, running single file, trying to keep it clean and wait for a big wreck to happen, or to wait for pit stops, which are coming up within a few laps. So, you know, that group, I think, is definitely playing it safe. It includes Hardcastle, Brent Jones, Vandermarl, right? Several, you know, Seth Egger, a bunch of guys who very well could have opportunities to win this race later on, and they're trying to get to that point. right? They want to get through this pit stop. They want to stick with the pack, but they want to do it with a clean race car.
Now, and just a side note there, Corey Abbott, he did pick up a friend back there. Carlo Acosta did drop back for him, and that helped tremendously. He went from losing 2 seconds a lap to where he's only running a few tenths slower a lap. So big help for that team, and that should help him at least hopefully make it to maybe if there's a caution where he stays on the lead lap.
Yeah, both of those guys are going to need that caution flag, and Carlos and Corey are both open drivers, so they certainly are hoping for that caution so they can get up here and race with what is currently Brandon Keat being the transfer driver at this point. He's held it, right at the front of the field the whole night. All the other open drivers have been up and down a good amount, but Brandon Keat's been pretty steady at the top of this pack.
Tyler Fode now jumps up to the high side lane there, getting that going, and already starting to show the effects of why maybe he was what the speed was down there, as they're starting to slowly pull away on that outside lane there. But yeah, as you stated, Brandon Keat still leading that line right in front of Andrew Rucker. He's not going to want to leave the lane open for Andrew Rucker. He will try to take that spot if available, as you see another driver dropping down now to try to lead that inside lane, and the bump. That almost caused a big one there.
Rucker actually let Key back in. He didn't do that earlier for Indelicato.
No, he didn't.
Brandon Key is
not lining up the bumpers very well with his pushes. He is pushing that 14 all around. Casey Hatch is trying to hold on to it, and it is not helping the cause for that inside lane. They are dropping back just a...
That's allowed Jeff Green and Ethan Burrell, the two good cars, to jump up to second and third on the outside lane, and we're coming around to lap 30. This is about when we're expecting to get warming up the pit crews and getting ready to come take fuel. I assume that they're just going to take fuel. I don't think there's any cause for anybody to take tires at this point.
Some of them may end up deciding to take two
into the wall.
Tires. The 16,
they're gonna wreck.
The 36, and they're still no caution. They're staying straight and they're keeping going. Wow.
Casey Hatch and Garrison Hogan.
Wow, what an amazing save by Garrison Hogan, our open driver there, able to get it going, and that has really split up the pack here. Those drivers that were running in the back checked up anticipating a wreck, and it didn't happen, and now we have it looks like maybe, how many drivers here up at the front? Maybe 10? Yeah, yep. 10 drivers able to check out, and that's what they're going to try to do here, is just get as much distance there. I don't see them wanting to split up the pack. They're going to all try to run single file here, but that is amazing save by some of those drivers for being able to keep it underneath.
Yeah, the guys who benefited the most from this are going to be Wyatt Nadel, Joshua Personette, Brent Jones, Ryan Schold. Those are the guys who picked up the most positions there, and I think the big key here is now going to be, can Garrison Hogan push Schold, Brent Jones, Rucker, and Seth Eggert up to this front pack? They're losing time right now. I think that this front group might have just gotten away with one here, and barring a late caution, they might have just gotten into that golden spot where they can kind of wait till the last couple of laps and then race it out from there.
Yeah, I know some of those guys must have been trying to starting to set their pit selections and deciding on how many tires, and that's probably when that all occurred, and now they have to try to figure out who around them they're going to work with, because some of those may split up from teammates or people they were working with beforehand, and now you might have to find a new partner, a new group of drivers to go down pit road. So these drivers are going to start speaking their case as to what lap to go down pit road together with, and it's going to be interesting to see how they all try to work together here to come to one end goal, and that's to do it in the least amount of time.
You can see the ticker for Ryan Schold. That is coming down, and it is coming down in a hurry. They have organized in that second pack, and they are running the bottom of the racetrack. Hogan is pushing Schold, and they are running a lot cleaner laps right now than this front group. You've seen them weaving and bobbing on the top of the racetrack. Scholt's got them pinned on the bottom of the racetrack, and they are definitely making time up now. So that would bring, I think, through Hibbs in 17th, Frankenfield in 18th up, and it would double the size of this front pack if they can get up there to that front group.
I think we're going to see some pit stops here. They all drop down to the bottom, and that's usually an indicator that they're going to be coming down pit road. So let's see, coming out of turn 4, who's going to be the takers here?
Nobody's coming down pit road, but they did drop to the bottom.
Yeah, that's usually the sign.
Yeah. If anything, I think it's because they were getting eaten up by Ryan Schuld and Hogan on the bottom of the racetrack there, and Fody moved him down to try and copy that and help out these cars in the middle of this pack to try and run in that line. But you're seeing just a whale of a job from all the guys in this second pack to stay lined up. You're seeing a lot of bobbing and weaving in this first pack. You're seeing a lot of nice tucked up driving in the second pack. It's a lot more organized, and this second pack's going to catch this first pack.
Well, you said second pack. There's actually multiple packs. There's also a third pack finding themselves 5 seconds behind. They are having a little bit harder time of this, trying to get things going. So, yeah, they're right now 3 main big packs going around the racetrack right now.
Another lap with a... Yeah, they lost a little bit that time. So Fody bringing those guys down to the bottom has stalled out Schuld and Hogan in the second group. So we will see whether, that move to the bottom is actually going to pay off for that front group. They've definitely gotten a little bit closer together and a little bit more organized, but Schuld is really close to being able to sniff a draft off of the back of Joshua Personette there in 9th. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this first group now tries to pit here and go ahead and take advantage of the space that they have created and been able to maintain after that near wreck.
Yeah, well, what's helping this front pack here is you got 3 really good drafters there. You got Tyler Fody, Jeff Green, and Ethan Burrell lined up at the front here. They did not have to try to mingle their way to get into those spots. They were already there, so that helped them with trying to be able to work into that into this spot here. But I am seeing them start to break up a little bit, almost like they're trying to let the draft back in. It almost makes me wonder if they're trying to let other groups into that draft with them.
Yeah, I think they're pitting. I think they're trying to just create a little bit of space, but you see the gap coming down for Ryan Schuld. It's now under a second to Josh Personette. So the front group unable to really capitalize. I think the second group's going to absolutely be a factor here once they do finally pit. But yeah, they don't pit here, and I think Schuld can now taste the draft off of Personette. I think they'll be. I think that second group's going to be joining the first group within a lap or 2.
Now, as far as the third group, they just lost another half a second. So from 19th on back, they are all really in need of a caution, as only the top 18 will be lined up here before too long here.
And you're going to have, all this whole group take fuel only, and they're probably all going to come down just about the same time. And I think the biggest bonus will be from whichever drivers in this group of 18 or so cars come down pit road first. That's going to be the biggest kicker, is who takes advantage of that pit road first and is able to get organized and get out first and get up to speed fastest, because that generally creates the track position for you if there's a caution with guys bobbing and weaving amongst slower cars coming off of pit road. But second pack is here. They've caught that first pack, and we have our first takers down pit road. It was the third pack that pitted.
Yeah, third pack decided that they were losing too much time. Got to try something here. So maybe they're hoping that maybe there's a wreck coming down pit road for that big group. Maybe they cause a caution, and then they can leapfrog them all with being able to get their pit stops done a little bit early. But coming around turn 4, it looks like the big pack is going to be making their way down pit road here.
Everybody's coming except for Joshua Personette, and a couple of guys don't go down pit road, but all the main factors, Tyler Fody, Ethan Burrell, Jeff Green, all down pit road now looking for service.
That was very, very talented by a lot of these drivers. Not a single one of them locked up, and they all came down very orderly. So very good job for these drivers to be able to get down so cleanly. See how they all line up here. As see some other drivers. I think that was Corey Abbott
Carlos,
yep. Yeah.
They're going to be part of this group coming off pit road. Wyatt Nadel first off. Brent Jones and Casey Hatch did slide through their boxes. They will have lost this first pack with those mistakes, but that might keep them away from any big wrecks. And then here's the group that stayed out an extra lap. Jordan Owens among them, Joshua Personette, Ryan Schuld, and Garrison Hogan. All the cars that have stayed out. And I think Owens is going to crash it on pit road.
Oh no, Owens, he did spin it there. He's going to be able to keep it off the wall for the most part, but that is game over for him unless something, unless a yellow comes out here.
So what is going to end up being your front three drivers is Wyatt Nadel, Tyler Fode, and Harrison Talon. And it'll be Ethan Burrell, Jeff Green, Brandon Key, Robert Hill leapfrogged his way up into this first pack from that third pack with a pretty good pit stop. So that's pretty impressive work from the 63 team. He was the only one, though, it seems. I don't see anybody else being able to make it up into this front pack. And then the one driver who's making a big run right now is Josh Robin. He's jumping up on the outside lane in this first pack. So they're going to have to go in round and split Carlos Acosta. This is going to be a hairy down the back straightaway.
Yeah, absolutely. We just saw it didn't really play too much of a factor if they pitted a lap later or that lap. They all kind of came out in the same place, so that's good for us. So that way we can see a pretty good sized pack here as we get closer and closer to the end of this first Gatorade Duel. Or not Gatorade. Oh boy, how old am I?
You're old as me. You're old as I am on this one. The big battle will be amongst 4 drivers for this this open starter spot. It'll be Josh Robin, Brandon Key, Gavin Hibbs, and Garrison Hogan fighting for it in this front pack. The battle is right there. Robin in the 8, Key in the 41, Hibbs in the 95. Hogan is in the far back in the white and black number 36 car. Those are the 3 you got to keep your eye on here because the fastest of those, the highest finisher.
Oh no!
They're not going to finish!
No, there's a massive wreck now going to be caused from this. No, it's
no
not.
Caution yet.
They somehow saved it. The wreck that happened was in the grass, but they somehow straightened it up. But that's going to ruin a lot of chances for some guys here. Brandon Key's got some issues from that. I believe Gavin Hibbs, a lot of the open drivers.
Yep. Personet's got a ton of damage. We'll have to get a replay of that one eventually, but it does leave Josh Robin as the lone open driver here, and he is hanging just off the back of this front pack. In fact, he's going to get a big run, and he will be part of this front 4. And yeah, that pretty much seals it up. And so much for that, the excitement of that maybe being a really interesting battle. And now it's just Josh Robin. Can they keep it green and keep it clean for the rest of this race? And that would hand it over to Josh Robin. And you got a couple of guys here in the front 4 that are not your typical Daytona drivers here with Wyatt Nadel, Harrison Talon. Those guys are running up front. They're doing a really, really good job. They had great pit stops and great pit work to get them up here battling for the lead in this one.
Yeah, right now I'm seeing two Lake Norman drivers there. That is going to be, if I had to make a guess, going to be the deciding factor if it goes to the green, goes to the end for a green here. That will determine who is able to get this Gatorade or this duel win here. But yeah, unfortunate there. Now they find themselves six seconds back, that group that was involved in all that. I think a lot of drivers absolutely thought that there was going to be a wreck, and that kind of has kind of been the theme of tonight. Wrecks that should have been wrecks, and they weren't. And we go based off of iRacing cautions. If iRacing deems that it's a caution, it's usually a driver turned around backwards facing the wrong direction is usually what is determined as a caution for the most part. And none of those drivers ended up being in that scenario, I guess.
Yep. So this front pack is about 5 seconds up on Jeff Green, Ethan Burrell, RC Anderson, Ryan Schuld, and Ryan Schuld. That's it for that second group. They are catching this first group, but it's not by much, and I think that that's going to wind up being a bit of a death knell for that second group. It's all about whether we get a caution here, like you said, and iRacing has not been generous with them tonight.
I will say, though, in the last lap, we're going to see right here as they come across that line, I believe that pack that's been formed up with Jeff Green and Ethan Burrell, yeah, they're not going to have enough time. They picked up about a half a second, but they are still way too far behind with only 4 laps to go to be able to catch up. So right now, as it stands, it is a 4-car battle. That 5th car right there in line is an unfortunate spectator to his own demise. That is Corey Abbott there. Kind of just already a lap down and stuck behind to watch watch this play out in front of him.
Disappointing for Corey Abbott for sure, right? He checked up for one of those wrecks that we talked about that didn't happen, and it wound up, costing him the draft, and in doing so has since cost him a spot in this Daytona 500. And it's clear the 73 car, it led some laps early. It could compete in this Daytona 500, but unfortunately, it's just not going to work out for him. And unless something drastic happens to change this thing up, Josh Robin's gonna make an appearance in the Daytona 500.
We've said it multiple times. Fody always finds himself in the front of these super speedways, and some people call it luck, some call it talent, but one way or another, he is able to avoid these wrecks. He's already got the pole award, so he's already locked up that front spot, but he can still try to get those points that are awarded, and he wants the 10 points that is given to the winner of this duel race. But he has Wyatt Knadel right in front of him, Harrison Talon, who most people didn't think that should have been allowed back in Cup. He's had a bad few seasons in Cup, and has really stepped up his game, I think, this season. He's done the ARCA program on Tuesday nights and showcased that he still has some speed. And what a way to prove it to the critics and prove it to the people that you belong, than to try to see if he can go out and win the very first points-paying event of the season.
Yeah, it would be big for Harrison Talon. It'd be big for Wyatt Nadel too, right? Trying to get his dad involved, just like Tyler Fody, a couple of guys who are getting their dad involved in iRacing, running up here at the front as we take the white flag. It's gonna be a little too late for the guys in the back, Jeff Green, Ethan Burrell. It's gonna come down to these four. One of these four drivers is gonna exit turn 4, the winner of our first Gatorade Duel tonight.
Absolutely. Again, we appreciate everyone watching here, but we are down to the white flag here. It all plays out here. Who is able to get the run? Is there enough cars to make the run? You see Jeff Green in the screen trying to get in there. It's going to be a little too late there for him. Here comes Harrison Talon to the outside. He's going to be side by side coming around 3 and 4.
Yeah, Robin's got to get to Talon if they want to get there. They're going to also lap Hogan coming off of turn 4. Fody spins Nadel.
And then at the line, it's going to be Harrison Talon over Josh Robin. Harrison Talon proves the critics wrong. He gets it done. He's going to win the very first points-paying event for him and his team there. Absolutely incredible. Started from the 25th position, able to get the win over Josh Robin by 0.02 of a second. Absolutely phenomenal end of this duel.
What a finish there. And, it all came down to it because Nadel had to leave the bottom of the racetrack. He ended up getting off-centered with Tyler Fody, and that's what spun him out. It was all due to that lapped car of Hogan, who ended up trying to get out of the way and head to the bottom, but it was just too late. And, I don't think that's on either Nadel or Fody. That's just a product of moving to the middle lane, in the middle of the corner with a bump draft on you, and then Robin and Talon come into the line. And a great job by Harrison Talon. We'll try to bring the race winner in.
Absolutely, yeah. Bad news for Wyatt Knadel there. Had a chance at getting some points locked up, fell back to 12th, and will not get any points for tonight. And that's got to sting whenever there was only 4 drivers within your group that were racing it out, and you are the lone guy not to receive any.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's a product of the way this thing drafts, right, and bumps down the straightaways. Do we have another incident? We're replaying Chad and Andrew Rucker, so
yeah,
looks like we did have another incident.
Oh no.
Man, they all were coming up on Wyatt.
Back up, yeah. Chad's not going to be happy with Rucker. Chad is not going to be, well, no, but I think a little bit of this is Andrew Rucker. I know why he did it.
Well, Wyatt Nadel is sitting in the middle of the racetrack up here too, right? Chad and Rucker and all these guys have to make some aggressive moves in order to get out of the way of a car sitting in the middle of the racetrack up here, and that's what ends up causing this big wreck.
Oh boy, yeah, that was rough.
Big hit for Norgard. Norgard does finish 10th. He does manage to keep his foot in it and get in the points. That did cost Chad points. He will finish 11th. So, very, very crazy result, crazy finish to this race. But let's bring up Harrison Talon, the race winner. Harrison, Did you expect to win that one when you started this race off in 25th?
Oh, no, I didn't actually. I was just planning on riding around, just hopefully gonna get the best starting spot I possibly could, and gaps opened up throughout the race. Race went green, surprisingly, thankfully. I was told before the race wouldn't go green by a couple people, and we proved them wrong. So that's cool, and yeah, really happy. New team, new start. New year. Happy for everybody at 21 and Savage Autosport. Wyatt was up there leading there at the end, and sadly got turned on the last lap. But yeah, good starting spot for the 500. Happy about the results, and we'll see what happens in Duel 2. See who we start beside.
Well, I had stated it early there for you. That you had a lot of critics going into this season. I had a lot of critics at the end of last season saying that, you shouldn't be in Cup anymore. You've heard the ruckers, and you've heard all the bad mouthing. How, just deep down, do you just want to rub this into their face right now that you just proved them wrong here? You had the cleanest race, and you got the win.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's one race. It's a plate race. It's duels. But it's also good momentum for the next week going into the 500. But for all the doubters and the naysayers and everybody about that, and all those guys that you mentioned, and everybody, they know who they are. They wrote me off, but I ain't right back. So.
I knew with some Kyle Busch fan in you and everything, you had some words of wisdom to be able to share with everyone on the naysayers there. But again, congratulations, all props to you. You're able to get the win here. You were able to beat Tyler Fody, the champion, the one that everyone picks to win the Daytona races and the super speedways, and you straight up you made the move before he did. And it paid off for you.
Yeah, definitely did. Definitely got lucky with he definitely had to check up with Wyatt getting turned around there. But yeah, just biding my time. I had Robin behind me. I knew he was in. He was an open car, but he was in because he was the first open car. So he wasn't going to do anything too crazy. So I figured he would have gone with me and just race to the finish, see what it done. So happy about a playoff point. I think 10 extra points too. I'm not sure, but we like those.
Hey, you're leading the points right now.
Yeah, you're the points leader.
Perfect.
You're the points leader.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, stop the count right now.
Is there anything you can take into the 500, Harrison?
Oh yeah, definitely. Lots of things. I mean the draft. I mean the pull on the car. It's massive. Right when you get behind somebody, it just pulls you up, just right instantly. But also, was testing out a couple things the other day with a few of my friends and stuff. Just practicing around here, seeing what the draft would do, how it would do with hooking up two cars at a time. I think what reminded me a lot was when Hamlin hooked up to Newman or Blaney a couple years ago in the 500. They just instantly shot off after Newman slungshot by him on the last lap. That's exactly what happened the other day. So I'd look out for that a lot. If that happens on the last lap, two cars behind, maybe three cars, that could be a big possibility that those two cars make a big move. So yeah.
Again, congratulations there, Harry. You were able to get it done. And yeah, we look forward to seeing how you do in the Daytona. You're going to be starting third in the race. You're right now the points leader. We'll see who at the end of the night is going to be sharing that title with you. But for right now, it's all yours to yourself.
I appreciate it, guys. Thanks so much.
That's Harrison Talon, our Daytona Duel winner here tonight for Duel number 1. You're not going to want to miss anything, folks. We're going to have some more races here. I believe they're going to be setting up the next lobby. We're going to go on a little bit of intermission. And then when we get
bring
back,
up the top open driver.
oh yeah, I didn't see Robin down there. Yeah, let's go ahead and bring up our open driver, able to get himself in and respectively got himself second. That's Josh Robin. Josh Robin, you were able to get it done. It was looking very good for you there, but you still had a chance to go for the win there. Exactly how did the night turn out for you? And exactly how did you place yourself into the position that you needed to be in?
Well, we build fast cars here at Lake Norman Motorsports for these plate tracks. So, I just did my thing, held my throttle down and steered to the left a little bit. And that last lap, yeah, I was gonna try to time it with Fody. So like I was gonna get around Harry and Fody was gonna pull out side of Wyatt and we'd hook up, but Harry, he was legging back there on the last lap and I just like, all right, I'm going with him. Pushed him and tried to side draft him to the line there, but he got it.
Again, congratulations to that. I'll give you over to Dave here. I think he had a couple questions for you as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. Josh, now that you're locked into the 500, anything you can kind of take to the 500 next week, and do you plan to work with Fody there? Looks like you guys are gonna be starting first and fifth. So, is your plan to stay up at the front in the 500, or have you thought about it yet at all?
Yeah, usually what I do is just try to stay up front as much as I can because I feel like that's what I've always done, and it's usually works out the best. And me and Fody we work together pretty well at these plate tracks. So yeah, hopefully, I mean, it's gonna be a long race, so I don't know, we got plenty of time to plan stuff out, whatever. But yeah, I guess we'll just see what happens.
Awesome, man. We got any shout outs for us here before we send you off?
Yeah, shout out to you guys. Anybody that watched, my teammates at Lake Norman Motorsports, and all the admins and Chad. Another great season coming up.
Absolutely. Well, again, congratulations to you, Robin. Not only locking yourself in, but you're going to be in a top 5 starting spot for the Daytona 500, setting yourself really good to race with some of your Lake Norman teammates there of Tyler Fody and maybe some others in the next duel here. But again, congratulations to you for making yourself into the show.
Thanks, Gerald.
Alrighty, Josh Robin there, one of my previous teammates I've had, and good guy. Calling him the Potato Man because he deals with potato farming a lot. So yeah, NASCAR's got its Watermelon Man with Ross Chast saying we got our Potato Man, with Josh Robin able to get that car into the show here. But yeah, I think we're good to go into an intermission. Would you say? Do we want to pull up Chad now that he's probably
he
really
racing
angry?
the next race? We could bring him in, to fire off race 2.
Yeah, we'll see if we can maybe check to make sure he's not in a horrible mood. But let's see if we can bring up Chad Frankenfield after getting turned on the last 200 feet from the start finish line. There we go. Yeah. Oh, I just brought him in actually. Chad Frankenfield, you got us.
Yep.
Not the way you wanted it to end with only about 200 feet left to go to the finish line. Is
Got a copy? Sorry.
yeah, no, you got us. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Got it.
We got you now.
Not exactly how you pictured it coming to about 200 feet from the start finish line, is it?
No. Not real happy with how that played out there at the end, but it is what it is, I guess. I would have liked to have gotten a couple points, but it's all good. We'll have a top 25 start next week.
Well, we saw it all through the race there. The wrecks that should have been. How does this car handle? And how are people able to save this thing when it gets that sideways? We saw some incredible saves, and we can't tell if it's just driver talent or if it was a little bit of help with maybe how this car handles when it gets turned sideways.
It's kind of weird. I mean, what you need to do is you need to obviously my first response is to tap the brakes, and it seems to stop the wrecking.
that's typically what I'll do. Um, but yeah, I mean it's tricky. It's obviously really tricky. The problem is when you get sideways here, you're in a pack of cars, so you don't really have much time to save it anyway. So, um, yeah, I mean it's definitely not easy.
And Chad, with this race and with this experience you had tonight, is there anything you can take into the 500 next week that can help you improve on your 11th place finish tonight?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things. There's definitely 2 lanes, which is good. It doesn't seem like the top lane is as dominant as it's been in the past. Although where the race starts in the day, so the top might be a little bit better. While it's still daylight out. Um, but it's really just going to be about strategy. But we've seen it so many times where guys can take advantage of the stages and the duels and really get a nice setup for the start of the season. So I think you're going to see a lot of riding around, and then once the stage comes, you'll see guys get aggressive, and then ride around and get aggressive again. So it'll be interesting. That was surprisingly clean in terms of no yellows. I don't know why there's or the yellows or some of those things. So it's something we'll have to talk about with admin. But yeah, I mean, I learned a lot. I'm ready to go for next week.
For sure, man. Any shout outs here before we hit intermission and switch the lobby over?
Yeah, just want to thank Kicking the Tires. It's really cool to have him back on board this season. I want to thank you guys for being in the booth, Belly Up Sports, Split Marketing, Worldwide Technology Raceway, Little League Racing. Yeah, just ready to go, and I think Duel 2 is probably not going to be as calm as Duel 1. So.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes. After a very calm duel, it's usually craziness or vice versa. So, again, congratulations. Well, not congratulations for the finishing result, but hopefully better results for you for the Daytona 500. Luckily for you, it's not over. We still have more speed weeks to come. But again, we'll see you later, Chad. Hopefully, we'll get to talk to you more often and maybe better circumstances for you. But that's Chad Frankenfield, folks. I believe we do have the next lobby being set up, but real quick, Dave, did you want to do the sponsor readouts now, or would you rather wait until we get into the other lobby?
No, I need to switch lobby.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and do our intermission here while we transfer over to our lobbies. Do not tune it away. We'll still be on this same YouTube chat here, and we'll be right back. I got a blank screen. There we go. And we're back for duel number 2 here. As we get ready to go here, we're going to go ahead and get it over. Dave, or do you want to just go ahead and do the... Yeah, okay. Go ahead, Dave. We're going to do our sponsor readouts here for it.
All right, had to make sure I was unmuted for that. Our sponsor for the Cup Series this year is Belly Up Sports. It's the internet sports bar, sports commentary via podcasts, forums, and articles on topics ranging nearly every sport, not your usual sports site. Check them out on X or at bellyupsports.com. Our premier sponsors for this year, Blue Egg Marketing. Blue Egg is the marketing department for small businesses. We're your marketing department. Small business owners, Blue Egg is your biggest fan. And Worldwide Technology Raceway. Worldwide Technology Raceway is a motorsport racing facility in Madison, Illinois, just east of St. Louis, Missouri, close to the Gateway Arch. It features a 1.25-mile oval that hosts the NASCAR Cup Series, Craftsman Truck Series, and the NTT IndyCar Series. I'm so glad I get to say the word IndyCar again. A 2-mile infield road course used by Speed Tour Trans Am, SCCA, and Porsche Club of America. A quarter-mile NHRA-sanctioned drag strip that hosts the annual NHRA Camping World Drag Series. And a Kartplex state-of-the-art karting facility. There we go, guys. Now you want the grid? Oh, I can give you the grid.
Well, we're going to have to speed the grid here because
Speed grid.
Speed grid. Jesse Rasmus is going to be on the pole for this. He will start on the outside of the front row. Just missing out was William White of Abbott Motorsports, and he'll try to avenge teammate Corey Abbott there. Scott Crump, Jonathan Cutlip, Tyler Dixon, the top 5. David Tucker, Trey Holmes, Johnny Thomas, Justin Fuller, and Vince Isabella round out your top 10. And then we'll have Dave, scroll through it here because we're off turn 4 going through to green flag.
Yeah, we're just about to start this event here. So we're not going to be able to read them out, but you can see them there. We will be talking about them in this event, but we are going green here where the racing gets good and the good get racing. It's duel number 2 here as the green flag is out, and there's that pretty number 70 that David is so fond about there. But William White trying to see if he can lock himself in, going to be trying to get that outside lane roll.
You guys up in the top 5 that are going to be trying to lock themselves into this race. Tyler Dixon, the other one in that 79 car. A third guy looking to lock himself in is Josh Adams in that 1 on the bottom of the racetrack. So keep your eye on those drivers in the orange on the pylon to your left. Everybody else, they're going to be looking to jostle for starting positions in those 10 points to tie Harris and Talon at the top of the board. For now, it's William White out front, Jonathan Cutlip and David Tucker following in behind, and a lot more of those Pro Edge cars in this race. It's going to be a lot of them, I think, finding their way to the front. We got Tate Lytle in this race. Obviously, Cutlip and Tucker and Matthew Weeks is in this race as well. So a number of guys that we're expecting to run up front from that stable.
And we saw duel number 1 have 0 cautions. It will be a true tale to see if it follows the norm of the second one usually being a lot more chaotic. Right now, though, the outside lane is showing a lot of speed there. It's already the first 8 cars already single filed out on that high side lane there, showing a lot of speed. So right now, as they go around, William White is pretty pleased at where he's running right now.
Yeah, he is. We've got Chris Wright and Josh Adams are now up there trying to clear the bottom lane. I think eventually we'll see a couple of these guys drop to the bottom of the racetrack. You got a couple of Mountain Man cars there, 5th and 6th, Johnny Thomas, Vincent Isabella. They're pretty racy. They might drop to the bottom. But right now, all William White, all up top for now. Trying to be clean and calm, I think, more so than that first race, because we did have a rule change going into this second race with those near wrecks that seemed like they should have been cautions. The group has ruled.
They
did change back.
Yep. At the last second, they voted and changed it back to status quo, same as real.
Yeah, I think that's the right decision too. I was going to mention it,
fair.
But yeah, it's fair to go run both duels. I think you can reevaluate before the 500 if we want the race to get split up like that. But for now, duel 1 should be the same rules as duel 2. It's fair to all the drivers that way.
Ooh, Vincent Isabella drops down there in front of Jesse Racimus there. I'm going to try to see if he can be able to rock it down onto that bottom lane. Already making some progress there. Beautiful paint schemes here tonight, folks. And right now, that bottom two is trying to see if they can now make it a side-by-side battle for the lead here.
If there's one guy who is here to race, it's the guy who bought the charter this week, and that's Vincent Isabella. He's looking to race. He's looking to be racy in this group, and he's really excited about his teammates. I got to talk to him, a good bit before this race. He's real excited about this, and he loves to run at the front at these plate tracks. So I'd look for that 3 car, if he's not sideways on the apron, to be up front.
Not very often do you get sideways, drop down to the apron, and still be able to have room to jump back up in front of the field there, but that's what Vincent Isabella was able to do there. Now, folks, if you're wondering who the open drivers are, once again, they are the drivers in the orange letter or orange box around their number. So the orange boxes are the drivers that lock themselves in. Only one of those drivers in orange will be able to race their way in. Right now, William White out front, but Tyler Dixon is the next driver in line there, all the way back in 10th, with Nick Massey right there in 11th. So those are the drivers. It's the race within the race that you have to watch, and that is what we're going to have to keep an eye on as this race pulls along.
We've got Robert Smith back here. He'll be one of the drivers looking to race their way in. Frank Fody as well. I think we'll have to keep our eye on Ty McIntosh back in this group as well. We interviewed him right at the beginning of qualifying, hole 35. I think he'll be one of the guys that moves forward as this race plays out. Long way to go, 50 laps, already 5 down. We're in the middle of lap number 6, and William White's led them all. 43 car, it's working well with Jonathan Cutlip and David Tooker early on.
Absolutely, as here comes Vincent Isabella rocking around on that bottom lane there. Gonna get a good pull going down this front straightaway. See if he's able to lead a lap here, as drivers are playing pretty fair and pretty nice. We saw in Group 1, I mean, they were testing the waters, bumping really hard, trying to get things going, and here everyone's just really spaced out. Now, it may also be, David, that it's close to 10 o'clock, and maybe these drivers are just trying to get some laps down.
Yeah, I think they're just trying to at least get through the pit stop before we really start trying to go 3 wide. We saw several 3 wide moves in that first race. Early on in this one, haven't seen any of the sort. And Vincent Isabella, Jesse Racimus, Scott Crump on the bottom. They have made that line work, and Vincent Isabella going to the lead here.
Yeah, now new leader for the first time in the race here. Vincent Isabella able to jump up in front of that outside lane to the line. He actually won't even lead that lap. Racimus is able to get back out in front of the pack.
Good move by Isabella to get up to the top, but it opens up the door for that bottom lane, and Crump may want to jump to the top lane and try to lead. Isabella's a good pusher, but can he lead a lane, right? That movement up to the top really stalled that outside line out. Now it's allowed Racimus, Crump, and the others to get going down on the bottom of the racetrack.
And for the first time, White is going to have competition for that spot. Here comes Adams, rocking the new sponsorship for him from my podcast here, able to get into the lead on that outside lane. So here comes Adam. Whoa. He's going to drop down almost 3 wide. Oh, he's able to find room down there. Vincent Isabella is still sideways, trying to see if he can save it. That was a lot of drivers that decided they didn't want to push anybody, and they all wanted to be the leader. And that almost did not work out for any of them.
A big shout out there to Trey Eidson, the winner of the Clash, who backed off the throttle and allowed Adams and Crump to make their weaving and decision making there. And they ironed it out. Everyone's still straight, but a little bit of a hairy moment there down the front straightaway.
Hairy moment. Harry's the winner from the first duel. We'll see how that plays out for tonight as far as who end up to be the top driver here. But right now it looks like the bottom lane seems to be working very well. It just kind of seems who's really good at being able to push if the bottom lane or the top lane is able to get up to the front. Right now, the bottom lane seems more organized and able to push the driver in front of them a little bit easier. But I think it switches up and it's leading to a lot of good racing right now.
Yeah, I think Jonathan Cutlip's a little bit better pusher than William White is right now. And then now we're going to see what kind of a pusher Vincent Isabella is as he closes to the back bumper of Scott Crump. think these two have worked together a number of times in the past, and Isabella is going to give Crump the bumper, and that will shoot Scott Crump to the lead here, and it'll shoot William White ahead of Josh Adams in that ultimate battle for the transfer spot. White will now be ahead of Adams and in a much faster lane, because you can see just the amount of momentum that outside line got when Isabella got to the back bumper of Crump and was able to shove him forward.
I have to wonder what happened to Tyler Dixon. He has lost the draft, and he is losing seconds upon seconds on the track right now. Already 20 seconds back just within a few laps. So if something doesn't happen, he may end up going a lap down before too long here.
Yeah, there was, yep, he lagged out and ended up way in the back of him, so wild there. But William White and Crump have dropped to the bottom. That opens the top back up for Isabella, being pushed by Jonathan Cutlip, and Isabella will lead at the line this time.
Yeah, another driver trying to get their way up there. That's an open driver. One that's surprising that he is Nick Massey. Nick Massey, well known for his ability to be able to be a clean driver and find his way into the wins of a lot of races, is now an open driver here at Daytona, trying to see if he can get his way in. So I think there's a lot of heavy hitters as far as open drivers in this one duel.
Yeah, there is, and Massey's a former 500 winner, I believe, in that 48 car, and I think he took some time off, ended up losing out on the charter this last year, but he's back, he's up here fighting for it, and he and William White are going to be going at it in those purple cars. I think it's going to be a good battle, and Massey, he's the kind of guy where if you're one of those competitors, you're hoping he doesn't make it into the 500, because he's absolutely just immediately a threat to win the race.
Absolutely. The race, the championship, anything he enters. In the podcast, before I knew he was an open driver, I picked him to win the championship, and quickly realized after that I picked the open driver to win the champion. So I'm hoping that he gets some points his way to maybe make my pick a little bit easier on me. But right now, the bottom lane rocketing back out front there. Isabella showing some great speed, started from the 10th position, and has quickly made himself well known at the front of the field.
I'm not surprised that Isabella and Scott Crump are working well together. That's a couple of guys who have had their issues in the past, but they have really come together, under that Lake Norman banner. And I know Isabella is not under the Lake Norman banner in this race and in this league, but a few other leagues, right? I think the Xfinity and the Truck, he's working with Scott a lot, and they've developed a really good repertoire. And as this inside line loses that run, it's going to gain it back, and then it's going to shoot back forward, and we're seeing that these two are really good at pushing and leading together respectively. And I think come down time to the end of the race, they're making up a group that you don't want to have pushing each other when it comes down to the win of this race on the last lap.
Yeah, some drivers trying to work their way up there. A Cutlip now trying to get up to the lead. Haven't gotten to talk about him a lot this night, but now able to try to work his way up there with one of his friends, David Tooker, right behind him, trying to get that outside lane. Tooker, from what the class showed, is a really good pusher, and we're going to probably see that here showcased as they're going to try to get that outside lane back out front.
Yeah, Cutlip, it's shocking he has enough time to end up being a as capable driver as he is, with the amount of excellent paints he puts together for this league. But this league, it's a credit to him is that these broadcasts look as good as they do, because he's able to put together so many really stellar paints that I think one's leading the way right now. He's running one in second, and then I think third and fourth are both paints by Jonathan Cutlip. So like I said, it's amazing this guy can even get up here and lead these races when he's busy painting most of the time.
Absolutely. At least he knows how to make them fast, because as you just stated, most of them are running up front here. So good speed from his the front, as we lost the broadcast on our end. But well, he's going to reset it for Dave and I to see, David and I to see. But I can see a little bit that's going on from my screen here. Right now, the outside lane still looking very nice, running up in that tie lane.
Yeah, now the inside has lost some of that momentum, and it's allowing Nick Massey and Chris Wright to clear the bottom. And I wonder if they're not going to drop down here and try to take the lead. A couple of guys who are working together right? Obviously trying to help Massey get into this race. I think it's going to be it's going to be tough to see whether, Wright and Massey can keep it together this whole race. Those are a couple of guys that have worked together a lot in a lot of different leagues. Good friends off the track, and here we go, move to the bottom. A couple of cars to the bottom in front of Isabella.
Yeah, timed it perfectly. Both of them did to both get down there, as Fuller now going to have a shot to be able to try to get up there into the lead of this thing. They quickly made quick work of it. Oh, you see a little dodging around here. Now, the drivers in duel number 2 have the advantage. They saw what worked and what didn't work in duel number 1 as far as when to come down pit road, how to space yourself, how to go about putting yourself in the best position. And they're gonna try to put that to use here today. That's the one thing you get when you get in the duel number 2 is you kind of get to showcase it a little bit from duel number 1 what to do right. Isn't that about how it goes?
Yep. Yeah, it is. And, I think we saw the biggest thing in duel number 1 was don't screw up pit road. Right, we saw guys fall off the draft, screwing up pit road, and missing their pit stall or taking the wrong set of tires. I think you just take fuel only. You get in, you get out. That's what Wild Nadal did. That's what Harrison Talon did. That's what Tyler Fode did, and they were 1, 2, 3 in the race, right? So, well, until Nadal got spun, obviously, but you got to be quick on pit road, and you can't be sliding through your pit box. You can't speed. It's just it all happens too quickly. This race is too short for you to overcome those mistakes.
Now we saw they actually were almost able to get into lap 40 before making their pit stalls or having to make for fuel stops and everything. So these drivers still have a while to go. They're about halfway through a fuel cycle here, but they have to already be imagining who they have to be teamed up with and who they have to work with, so that way they can come down pit road together and be able to be a team. And that's one thing that with being able to watch that, they're going to be able to work together. As you see one driver go a lap down, I think that was Dixon going a lap down.
Another guy who's lost the draft is McIntosh. McIntosh and Robilas now way off the pack working together. So the more this race runs green, the easier it is for those guys at the very end of the pack to lose the draft. You got to be vigilant. You got to make sure you stay with that pack, stay in that running, and even maybe start to work your way forward in the pack, because if you don't, you could be victim to what happened to Corey Abbott last time, which was you lose the draft, you end up having to run the whole race by yourself. Not only do you not make the Daytona 500, but you don't have any fun in this race either.
Yeah, you lose out a lot as far as it becomes a little more boring, because there's really nothing going on back there. But that is not the case for a lot of these guys up here. They are slowly starting to figure things out here, but it is a lot different than duel number 1. These guys are just not really pushing it nearly as much. We saw, I don't know if it's different temperatures, different mindsets, but I say that. It always seems to be right when you say something, but I mean, for the most part, it looked like these drivers are having a little bit easier handling of these vehicles right.
Here comes Crump and Isabella up to the top to block off the run by Adams. Now Crump back to the bottom of the racetrack. He wants the lead, and he'll get it for the 90 car of Lake Norman Motorsports. Scott Crump tired of riding behind Vincent Isabella there.
Yeah, now finds himself out front. Now he's going to try to just see if he can block both lanes here. That killed the momentum on that outside lane as they were booking it quite a bit. Oh no, Vincent got quite sideways there.
Adams got Vincent just coming off the corner, led out of it, let Vincent get it gathered back up. Everything's okay, no harm, no foul. Now Vincent pushing Jesse Racimus to the lead. We'll see if that outside line can gather up a lot of momentum and drive back to the front. It looks like it's doing it. Oh, they're bumping off the corner.
Oh, Racimus almost got into that outside lane or outside wall there, able to save it. Gonna be now trying to use that momentum. Wow, to go that sideways and still have the momentum, it just shows how hard that 3 car is pushing the back of that 70 car. They are trying to get that outside lane rolling, and right now it's working, but boy, it is a razor's edge. They have to be careful that they don't go over it here. Oh, 3 wide. Now we're starting
Isabella
to see
got damage. I don't know where that came from. Isabella's car is junked.
He lost a tire almost. I think he lost a tire. Or the
Did he blow
suspension's
up?
broke. Oh, he may have. He may have blown his engine.
Yeah, maybe.
No.
Something's up with this 3-car. Let's bring Vincent in because now he's gonna be on pit road. I think we can grab him now. Let's wait for him to get into his box.
He's still got engine power.
I don't know what happened. That was weird. We'll have to see. It must have been some lag or something. Maybe he got into the wall.
I don't see that much damage on it.
I have a ton of damage on my end.
Yeah, no, as far as the screen showing on here, it doesn't really show a lot of damage on it, but we'll find. I mean, the front end's got a little bit of damage right there, but yeah, he's leaving pit road, so he took his tires.
Vince, what the heck happened?
I don't know. The car just laid down, no power. It didn't blow up.
It's showing you got a bunch of nose damage, man. I don't know what happened.
Maybe that. I don't know. Netcode maybe. Couldn't tell you.
Well, he's going to have a lot of lap cars coming up on him very quickly here. So we'll
send him back, but
we'll
tough
let
break,
him
Vince. We've been watching you.
I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully we get a yellow and get it fixed.
Yep. Sorry, buddy. Unfortunate. You were fast. Good luck.
He's back out there, but he's about to get just swarmed. This is not a good position. They're going to force it 3 wide. A lot of drivers going to have to keep an eye on, make sure everyone is able to get by him safely here. But yeah, that is unfortunate for the 3-car. That is such a bizarre incident.
Yeah, I don't
but
know what happened there. His nose is showing a ton of damage on my end, but I don't know where that would have come from. I didn't see any contact. You know, we saw him bumping the 70 of Racines. That wasn't egregious contact. That wasn't contact that you expect to, you know, ruin the race car, right? And nobody else has a bunch of nose damage, so I don't know what happened there.
No, maybe it's the monster in the monster car there just came out and bit him. But unfortunate for him, they are still racing. We were talking about how calm it was. I don't know if a flip switched or what, but drivers are now starting to be very aggressive out there. Now we see there Eitzen, our Clash winner, able to get up to the front here, and it is now popping off on the front of the field here as far as drivers trying to get up and lead this thing.
Yep, a couple of team cars here for, I'm not even sure what team this is, for Eitzen and Fuller. Those two guys, definitely team cars, very similar paint schemes. Aftermath Motorsports. Is that right? Yeah,
Not aftermarket, Aftermath.
They are. Some
It
very
is after
flashy
I get done with
schemes.
it. As
By Adams, dropped to the bottom.
Yeah, the inside lane's starting to go again. It's a comer and goers of lanes there. It just it never seems that they can stay side by side for too long before one lane just gets the momentum behind them and then they take off. But it leads to a lot of lead changes here, and that's what we like to see. I can remember a time where the Cup cars, they couldn't even make a pass on each other, and now we get things like this that it sets up such an interesting race because you really don't know where the run's going to come from.
Yeah, and Adams has to do that right there. There has to be some very bold moves, very quick reactions, like what Adams did right there. And you can tell who is able to make those reads better. It's guys that can stay up in the front for the whole duration of the race. We've seen it really well with Josh Adams, but William White, Scott Crump, even Trey Eitzen, they've been up at the front of this pack all night long. Vincent Isabella was another one that was up front all night. Unfortunately, a mysterious damage has taken Isabella out of the race. We'll see what other damages may befall the rest of these guys here as we're just over halfway, 22 laps to go.
Absolutely here. As Adam's taking that podcast, the Simply Racing podcast, up to the top there, trying to see if he can still be able to battle. It's been a 3-car battle for the most part for that open spot, and it's been great so far. It's still going to be a hard decider factor of which one of them is going to be the best in show at the end of all.
Yeah, and I think we have yet to see the biggest moments of this race, right? We've seen a lot of shuffling, pushing, but nothing egregious. And I think it's only a matter of time before we do, finally wad them all up. We've had a few near misses, and I think, the guys playing it at the back right now, like Frank Fody, Hunter Smith, Culpa, Colin Culpa, those guys are all well within striking distance of this first transfer spot, and they might very well be in the catbird seat at the end of the night.
Yeah, I mean, we have plenty of big ones in the clash. I mean, there was a multitude of wrecks in that one, and in these duels, it's not been from a lack of effort. They have been pushing each other quite hard, and we've seen a few what could have been big accidents, but it just hasn't happened just yet. But all it takes is one driver making a misjudged timed move for it to all end in sorrow.
Yep. Big move there for Justin Fortner, number 26. First time we've called his name tonight. He has jumped to the top of the lane behind Jonathan Cutlip, in front of Jesse Racimus. First time tonight also we've called Michael Hosack, who crossed the line 5th last time through. 24 car, 26 car right there. Those guys have moved their way towards the front in this one as the packs have shuffled back and forth. Good runs for them, and Tate Lytle's going a lap down.
Yeah, I did not see what happened to Tate Lytle either. There's a group of cars that have dropped off from the lead pack. Ryan Gravel. What was that? Tate pitted? Oh, yeah. Yeah, a few of these guys pitted, I guess, then. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened to a few of them then. I see Vincent Isabella, even though he had that damage, is still able to stay with the pack.
Yeah, he's been in the pack pretty consistently. He's running on the bottom lane right now. Everything's behind Eidson, Crump, and White. Those three have been able to hold that bottom lane and hold the lead since the incident with Vincent Isabella. Another couple of newcomers to this top 10. Ethan Stanley, 92 car for Lake Norman Motorsports, getting up close to his teammate Scott Crump. And you have Josh Clark there in the Pro Edge number 28. He's been able to move forward without the help of Matthew Weeks and Tate Lytle. Weeks is still kind of stuck back in the middle of traffic there in 17th. And Lytle, obviously, we just mentioned, went a lap down and is pitted early.
Yeah, and here comes Frank Fody trying to get his way into that conversation as far as open drivers, and his son sponsor number 04, seeing if he could be able to get into the show with his son, who was able to get the pole award here earlier in the day, trying to see if maybe we can have a father-son tandem draft in the Daytona 500 if it all works out. As you see Clark able to jump to that outside lane right in front of not a team car, but one of the drivers that they consider a team car. Oh, the 5 got tremendously sideways, and that was when a lot of drivers decided to get out of the lane there. Oh, that could have ended bad.
Did you see how fast Josh Adams and
Justin
Fuller dropped to the bottom? They were on it to drop to the bottom and get out of the way of that potential incident there.
Yeah, they did not like what they were seeing there. As I don't know if it was from Chevy to Toyota, the bumpers just didn't line up there, and they got completely sideways. The 5 did, and able to keep it going. That's been again kind of the theme. They get it this sideways, but they never go over that line just yet.
Right. Big shout outs to Frank Fody and Robert Smith before they fall out of the top 10. Couple of open cars. William White's obviously controlled that position, and he's going to have to battle Josh Adams, and he's going to have to battle Nick Massey by the end of this race. But Frank is just out here logging laps, trying to learn, trying to get better at this whole drafting thing and this whole racing thing. And we're going to have a wreck.
Massive wreck. Yeah, there's a caution there. I think Adams, the 08 left a room. Adams decided to try to take it, and then Robert Smith came down. Oh, it's more wrecking down the back straightaway.
Weeks in it too.
Oh boy.
Robert left the bottom open just as I was giving him the props, and that's something you're just gonna have to learn is you got to keep that car in the line and on the bottom. He's gonna suck up Jesse Racimus, Trey Holmes, Josh Adams. Isabella's gonna get more damage. I think he's gonna make an awesome save here and keep that car straight.
Yeah,
Tooker looks like we're gonna need to go on board with Tooker.
Well, we'll keep it on this right here and see what happened.
Oh well.
Oh well.
It was okay.
Maybe next time. There we go.
Yeah. One more look.
Yeah,
No, you're good. You're good.
there's a lot of yelling going on the racetrack right now. A lot of drivers unhappy. Robert Smith believes that the lane was never opened. Adam said the lane was completely open. And you could be the judge of it at home, or you can join me on the podcast where we will be the judge of it and make criticism. But we'll see what happened here. This is where we saw more. Oh, Weeks actually.
I think it's a little bit on both of them there. You know, Robert should probably hold it on the apron. Weeks it didn't need to give that much space to the slow car of Adams on the top, and
Yeah.
you know, it looks like.
I mean, I don't think Weeks is going to have that much damage.
No,
fortunately
he'll be
for
okay.
him.
If Isabella's car was still running after all that damage, I think he'll be all right.
I think Adams is going to be done. He's absolutely done for the night. I think Robert Smith probably going to be done for the night. I mean, that was, ouch.
Racimus done. He'll start second in the 500 though. So if there's anybody who probably could have been caught up in a wreck tonight and without really being upset about it, it's Jesse Racimus, right? I mean, he's locked in, into that second spot. He's feeling all right, so not too bad for him. And then this incident with Weeks and Smith.
Well, for those that were wondering if the cautions were turned on, they are.
That one worked.
Yeah, that one worked. There's if iRacing didn't throw it there, I think we would have had a little bit up to debate on some of that.
Oh.
But the monster car gonna lose a front bumper there.
My suggestion to you, Dave, is on board with David Tucker and then an on board with the 51 of Fuller. Those would be the two I want to see.
I like how you say Tucker's name.
Tucker. One of those. Another David. That's what he is.
Oh no!
Here they come, and this is some excellent wreck avoidance here because I think he just gets a little door damage, but you're gonna see the whole thing unfold right in front of him.
And who's the other one?
Nose damage. 51 car Fuller. He gets hit on the door and almost spins it out, but keeps it straight.
I'm wondering how race control is going to rule that.
It looked like it was some net code, but you do have some responsibility to stay in your lane. And if you're not in your lane, then, well,
get out of it.
You got to go to the middle. You got to officially commit to the middle. So I would see either way, either the net code or the decision on the first car. I don't think that can be on Adams, though. That's maybe my one thought.
Yeah, I wouldn't really put that on Adams as much as either. I mean, it's just one of those things. A little bit of netcode, but we'll see.
Scott Haney in the YouTube chat said that wreck has some folks cussing and fussing.
Yeah, there was some cussing.
There's your result.
Oh yes, so they did issue the tally on Robert Smith there for coming down. It was a little bit of a situation in that, I believe, but like I said, maybe tune into the podcast and we'll discuss that more in full detail there. But it looks like the pace car lights are off. They're going to line it back up. Now pit stops are out of the question. Drivers have gotten new tires. They've gotten their fuel. They are done going down pit road for all they hope. And now it's only one thing in mind, and that's leading this thing. And that's something the other race didn't have, is that caution to bunch everything back up. Mm-hmm. And we're about to see that now.
I want to throw into the ring 3 guys who really wanted to see that caution. Vincent Isabella, Tate Lytle, Tyler Dixon, all 3 back in the lead lap now after taking the wave around. Absolutely awesome. Hopefully they can, make their way back through this field and improve their starting spot after, we saw guys like Corey Abbott and Carlos Acosta not get the opportunity to race for it last time. We'll see these guys get an opportunity here, and I don't know how much damage the 3 has. Looks like Tate's got some door damage as well, and obviously Robert Smith here, and Dixon's had the lag issues, so it's not a guarantee for any of those guys to improve their starting positions, and especially for Dixon to race in the 500. But it's good nonetheless that they will get an opportunity here to race for it.
The question is, for some of those guys, did they just take the wave around? And if so, are they going to be able to make it on fuel? Yeah, I think Vincent Isabella
They
got
had
the lucky
30-something
dog,
laps. I think they're going to be fine.
Yeah, so we'll see how that all turns out for them there. But the pace car is going to be coming down. We're going to have a 12-lap shootout, and this may be the last caution we see, but who's to say? I think we're about to see a little bit of more intense racing than we've seen all night long here. As green flag is out, Scott Crump able to get going on that outside lane. All three of those drivers, maybe a little bit of team play there, as all three of them are in the same chat. Yeah, it looks like Lake Norman got the jump, needless to say, on that bottom lane, and that will put Frank Foti in front of William White for that transfer position as they run.
Yeah, that's huge. Big for William White and Frank Foti. Well, Frank just got the bumper from William White. Yeah. Frank's gonna learn. It's they're trying to wreck back here, but Frank's got to learn. This is the time. You want to get in? Well, now you got to put the pedal to the metal.
It takes a little bit of luck, and it takes a lot of determination to be able to get that transfer position. At 3 wide is being forced on some people there. Oh boy, 3 wide there. I think Fuller got suckered into the middle of the vacuum there, and it's going to go back a little bit. Oh, he got his payback a little bit on the 0-1. Made a little nudge on Ryan Gravel there, and almost got him sideways there.
Couple of newcomers to this pack. You see Ty McIntosh, the pink and black, number 35. Gavel, the 0-1 Hux car. Both of those guys had lost the draft. The caution was a huge benefit to them as well. Trey Eidson's back to the lead. Caution comes out, and the race pretty much stays the same. It's been a battle between Crump and Eidson since Isabella fell out.
Yeah, McIntosh, we haven't talked about him nearly at all in this race, and now he finds himself a really good shot leading the drivers of Open on that high side lane, trying to see if he can be able to use that momentum to be able to jump in front of Foti and White. He's right there. I mean, it's a battle for that Open transfer spot. We are 10 laps in, coming to 9. It is starting to get a little tense, and these drivers are going to be pushing a little bit hard.
Yep, and you're going to see those Lake Norman cars, they have to link up and work together. And up top, you've got Fortner and Eidson, who are not teammates.
Oh, McIntosh forced it in the middle, made contact with Tucker there, or Tucker.
Killed the outside lane.
Killed it a little bit, because they all started checking up, but now McIntosh is going to be in that sucker hole.
Oh, William White shot up to the top, almost spun it out, but he's going to challenge Frank Foti for that transfer spot.
Yeah, it
Does
depends
Eidson go
on
with
where
him?
Eidson, yeah, if Eidson's going to stick behind him, or if he's going to try to find a way around him. Right now, it looks like he's going to follow him, so that's exactly what William White needed. They need to start going forward, though. They're still backing up.
They're pulling it back.
Oh, no, this looks like a wrecking coming here. They are all over the place. They're zigzagging. They have a couple death wobbles there in the back of the pack.
Clark I think Tucker's pushing Clark, and that's causing that car to get all upset. As here comes Colin Kolpa to the outside of Hosack, but all of that is way behind Frank Foti, running third. Foti just following the footsteps of his teammates, keeping that car on the bottom, and it's working out for him. The nearest challengers are now fighting each other between Kolpa, Massey, and White back here for 6th place.
Yeah, just when you start to figure out how to push one driver, they leave your lane, and then you have to learn how to push a different driver. And I think that's what's causing a biggest issue for a lot of them, is there's a lot of people moving around, and they're trying to figure out how to work together. And it takes a little while to learn it. And unfortunately, there's not a lot of time for you to be having to figure it all out. But here comes some more drivers. Oh, boy, I think Eidson may tap the wall there.
Eidson and White both, I think, bounced it off the fence trying to push Kolpa to the lead. Kolpa now has the advantage on Frank Foti for that transfer spot. Kolpa's also going for the win back up here. He's trying to get up there and challenge Scott Crump for the lead with the push from William White.
It is getting absolutely nuts out here as these drivers are not lifting. This time of lift is gone. They are still pushing really hard here. Foti still has it over White, and here, Kolpa is out front here leading the Open driver. So Kolpa is starting to try to get a run here late in the
Yep, he's going for the lead right now. Is Colin Culpa in that 0-6. William White, he's got to get that 0-6 to the lead and then drop down and go around the 0-6. Not an easy task by any means for William White, and that's all without becoming disconnected and losing the spot to that 404 of Frank Fody. So a lot of racing within the racing going on behind these two Lake Norman teammates of Scott Crump and Ethan Stanley. And that battle for the transfer spot is the really important one, because that's the guys who get to race next week.
Yeah, you don't want to find yourself in that sucker hole in that middle lane there. Drivers are going to try to figure out a way to get in front of the driver in front of them that they're pushing without getting stuck there, because as soon as you do, you drop all the way to the back. Some of those drivers can contest to that, as here we come to almost 5 laps to go in this event. And right now, the bottom lane seems to be surging just a little bit.
Yeah, it's going to be whether it can surge enough for Nick Massey to get up to the top. Massey has been stuck on this bottom lane. He and Chris Wright have had nowhere to go over the last several laps. They've just kind of been stuck down there on that bottom. It's up to Culpa and White to catch Frank Fody, and Frank is just riding it behind Ethan Stanley. He's not really facing any pressure from Michael Hosak. Doing a great job in that unsponsored car. Somebody come put your logo on Frank's car if he makes it in next week.
You know, Tyler Fody's pretty pleased with his team, able to help his father with trying to get into this event. You'd hope that they would be, oh yeah, here it comes. Yeah,
Pro edge, guys. White's going backwards. Culpa's going to get turned. Oh, they're going to wreck.
Oh, they're still going straight. I don't know how.
They're around. Caution's going to be out.
Yeah, there it goes.
Massey missed it.
I don't know what Clark was doing there.
Yeah, Clark's got to, it's, you know, you said it, right? It's time not to lift anymore.
I know, but.
So they did it.
He tries making that move, but he was already there. You got to stay behind him.
Yeah. I think that's going to end up on the 28. I think you got to push the 0-6 at that point. I know you're trying to lead the line and keep the momentum up, but if you deliver the bump, you should be okay to keep that momentum up, right, in that 28 car. And so he's going to end up without too much damage on this, I don't think. Massey gets away from this real lucky. With
how hard Clark hit the left rear of that bumper, it didn't immediately spin him around. Yeah. Any other season you hit that hard, the car's going like it will spin out immediately, but he doesn't spin out. I don't know how this new package is it's obviously affecting them, but I mean, they're not spinning out like they used to.
I mean, look at how difficult it is for the 35 to get spun out, and yeah, we're giving it to the 28 car there. But I just. It's ultimately takes a really long time to get Trey Holmes and Justin Fortner and Ty McIntosh spun out here, to the point that it really
you really got to put some effort into spinning a guy out to get the caution to come out almost.
Really, I mean that took forever to materialize, and
yeah, I mean look at that. I mean he's pushing him for so long completely sideways, and it never spins out. Right. I mean, that's not even where the caution occurred. It happened farther in the pack. I mean, if that didn't happen further in the pack, all those guys would be out of luck again. I mean, that's nuts with how this new handling. This almost reminds me back when in real life they had the big wings on the back, and you know the wind would almost keep the cars going straight no matter what. It's almost in that scenario.
Absolutely, yeah. And what's going to be interesting here is Scott Crump's probably going to take the top, and Ethan Stanley's going to lag back just a little bit, try to keep he and Frank on the bottom in line and let Crump drop down in front of them. That's my assumption to go here and see if they can't just pull Frank to the win, but White's still in this, Culpa's still in this, Massey's going to be restarting on the top. It's anybody's race here.
Yeah, I would almost have to say that somehow I would have to say that Lake Norman's going to try to figure out some way to get Fody the advantage here and get him out front.
The thing that Frank doesn't have is the experience in these spots, right? He's very much a rookie, very much new to this stuff, and these guys are very experienced, right? A lot of races up here between Crump, between Stanley, between Hosak and Cutlip, right? These are guys that have run this stuff a lot. And Frank does not have the experience in this, and he's going to need to just stay in line, stay, you know, in where he can figure out a way to get in and kind of just play his cards right. I don't think Frank's going to be going for the win. I think he's going to be going to try and stick right behind the back bumper of that 92 car and hope it pulls him to that transfer.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to have our first shot at a green-white checkered here in the Elite Series. It's gotten crazy. I gotta say, I mean, it's turned up a little bit here, as it looks like Scott Crumpet's going to choose the outside lane. I can kind of figure out how this is probably going to turn out for the restart here. I'm pretty sure they're going to time it perfectly, where Scott Crumpet's going to be able to turn right down in front of Ethan Stanley, and that they're going to go on and boogie on that bottom lane.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely the plan from this group. It's a pretty straightforward one, and the hope will be that outside lane doesn't gather enough momentum to pull by Frank, and they can pull the 04 car into the race, and then we can get Frank a sponsorship and get that car liveried up.
You know, Dave sponsors a car now. My podcast sponsors a car.
Yeah, I might need to throw a logo on
I got two now. I got two now. I upped the ante on you.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, he wanted better chances, I guess. But yeah, I mean, you need to go out there and get a car sponsored. I guess you could do Frank Fody.
I certainly could, and you know, it certainly could be on a worse car, right? Running third, having a great race, and you know, very clearly a good plan, right? Staying behind your teammates, learn as much as you can, and he's going to get some experience here on a restart late in an elite race, and that's pretty valuable stuff moving forward as you grow as a racer.
Absolutely. Pace car lights are off. They are lined up to go for a shot at this Gatorade Duel. Or, I gotta keep saying Gatorade Duel.
You keep saying
Duel.
it. Yeah, I do too.
Maybe I'll just sponsor it and name it that from now on.
We need a sponsorship from Gatorade. That's what we need.
That would be an awesome sponsorship. But now, first shot at a green-white checker here for Duel number 2 here. We're going to find out how it all plays out very shortly. 2 races going on, obviously, one for the win and the other going to be for the open spot. So keep an eye out for those drivers with the orange box, as they're also playing for their own keeps here tonight.
Right, and you know, we'll see how that outside lane is able to keep up. You know, it looks like it's a little more formed on this initial start. Obviously, Crump and Ethan looking to kind of make that move to the bottom of the racetrack, and they, you know, the inside line's getting gathered back up. We'll see how it goes, but Crump's off pretty early. I think he's going to be able to drop down in front of his teammate. He does so right there.
Almost like it was planned. And then right there, looks like Leighton Norman's going to have a really good jump out here, as all 3 of them are going to be able to now be in front of that pack. But what that's done is it's got a lot of momentum being caused behind them.
Oh, they're wrecking in the back. Tyler Dixon.
Caution.
Oh, they're out again. White is around. White's hard into somebody else. It's Cavill into the wall.
Oh,
Kyle
White's
Hanshaw's
done.
in the wall.
Yeah, White's absolutely done. Started back there with Dixon, but White's now lost his front bumper. Massive wreck.
That's huge too, because the caution was already out for the Dixon incident, and White gets taken out, and he was in position to, you know, take the lead of that spot on the back straightaway there. Netcode, yeah, between the 56 and the 79. 79's been having those connection issues all night long, and ultimately that's going to end his night.
Yeah. Ooh.
Clobbered by Fortner.
Yeah.
Nowhere to
Fortner
go.
Slammed him. But there was 2 wrecks, and they were not at all a part of each other. They were almost occurring at the same time. We'll have to see what caused the other wreck, because regardless of what happened behind them.
It's Clark.
Oh, yeah.
Clark got into the 43 in the middle of the corner here. Although it was kind of a product of Hosak. He had to check up a little bit. Looks like Massey's going to have some damage in this. Fuller's going to have some damage in this. But it looks like it was a product of the 5 and the 19 moving up. That gets Hosak a little tight, and he has to let off the throttle to not keep driving up the racetrack. And in doing so, it backs that lane up, and it winds up, you know, causing the caution there between the 43 and the 28.
Yeah, as soon as that bottom lane was able to clear themselves and get up, it just caused some checkups there. And yeah, just around. I mean, hard hit. Wow. Hard hit to be occurred there. But that's going to set up another green-white checkered here. And again, this is all to get lined up for the home place beer Daytona 500, the 10th running of the Daytona 500. Looking forward to it. That's going to be next Wednesday. Don't want to miss it. It's going to be 200 laps, full distance race. And we're going to see a full field, not just 27. We'll see all 43 drivers out on track. And if you've enjoyed tonight, make sure you follow us here at the Elite Racing Network. And stay tuned for all the racing that we enjoy here. Indy Cars on Thursday nights and ARCA on Monday or on Tuesdays. I think the truck season starts this Sunday, doesn't it, Dave?
It sure does. I'll be in that one.
There you go. So truck racing going to be starting out on Sunday nights, and on Monday nights is going to be the start of the Xfinity Series as well. So it's all getting going here in the Elite Series, and it's all starting here at Daytona. So you're not going to want to miss a thing. This is Speed Weeks, and what a great way to start off here with the duels, and great racing so far to be shown.
Hey, let's run our Gateway ad real quick.
The NASCAR Cup Series returns to Worldwide Technology Raceway on June 1st and 2nd, 2024. The time to get your tickets is now. For only $10 down, you can lock in your seats for an incredible weekend of family fun, featuring the Enjoy Illinois 300 and the Confluence Music Festival. Racing, music, camping, it all adds up to one amazing party. Go to www.raceway.com for the hottest ticket of the year.
We thank all of our sponsors here, as we do appreciate them jumping on board here with the Elite Series. We're a family, and we love to have them a part of our family. All those that go into making these shows a reality, even a virtual reality as they are, and being able to showcase them here at home as all the stories get placed here for us to tell. And I got to say, this is a great way to start off a very fun relationship, wouldn't you say, David?
Yeah, no, this has been awesome. What a great race to start. We obviously had the caution-free race and a photo finish. Now we're gonna have a green-white checkered here. I think our second one. I don't know how many we have. We'll have to double check. It's 2 out of 3. So we got one more opportunity after this, and then if the caution comes out before we get the white flag, this race will be over. But it's been a wild one so far, and it's been a good battle for our transfer spot. We're set a number of starting spots, but we've got a few more to set for next week's Daytona 500.
Absolutely. And again, if you're looking to jump on board, I do know that we do have some races open and available for sponsorships. If you have any inkling of being able to jump on board with us, just get in touch with our Elite Twitter channel, and we'll be able to get you set up with being able to sponsor your own race here in the Elite Racing Network and for the Belly Up Sports Cup Series. And I'm excited for how this all plays out. I'm excited to see how tonight ends up. Who gets in? Who gets themselves a chance for a shot at the Home Place Beer Corporation Daytona 500 to be crowned a champion? It's not every race that when you win it, you get crowned a champion. Not just a winner, a champion, because you had to go through so much qualifying, the duels, and so many other laps that had to be put down just to be able to have a shot at a chance to win. And that's why we call it a championship instead of just a win. And it gets put down in history. We remember every single Daytona 500 winner here in Elite, and that's something special to say.
Yep, and this isn't necessarily for that Daytona 500, but this is for a dual win and points towards the championship later this year. So let's see what happens.
As the pace car goes down, we're going to probably see some more team orders coming down on how they'll get this started out. As Scott Crump gets the green flag, I can almost believe he'll drop right down in front of his teammates there. That's going to leave the 5 now out by himself. Well, it's really... Go ahead.
There's going to be a big run here from the 19 car of Tucker. That's the one to watch. He's going to try to get him behind Cutlip. He can't do it. That might have to check him up. Up top goes Chris Wright.
Oh, Chris Wright in the 9. We haven't said his name at all. Now going to be out there 3 wide.
That's going to kill the top.
Yeah, they keep hitting the wall. I think
they let it go.
No, they keep it going. They keep it going. It's just a lot of hitting back there that outside lane's being used up quite a bit, as here they come out of turn 4 to take the white flag. It will now be a race back to the checker flag here, no matter what.
Nick Massey's coming up on Frank. He's only a car behind now. Massey's going to watch Massey ran into Chris.
Oh, there's a car around. The 88 Trey Holmes around. They still go up
Doesn't
front
matter.
here.
Bosak up top trying to get past these Lake Norman trio. Massey's the one trying to get by Frank Fody.
Fody's got no one behind him to help. He's going to be stuck down there all by himself. It's here comes Massey side by side, now ahead. The racing up front, it's getting intense.
Osak's blocking it off.
Scott Crump going to try to get that run down the bottom. Here they come.
Crump got turned.
They're going to run. Fody's losing spots. Here comes to the line. It's going to be Tucker. Tucker gets it.
Hooker gets it. Massey ends up in the race. Frank Fody falls to 11th. The Lake Norman trio fell apart on the bottom, and David Tucker up top, able to take the push from Jonathan Cutlip and bypass Michael Hosak, coming to the line. We're going to have to watch that one again because there were a lot of things going through that were rather crazy right there. They tried to wreck 4 or 5 times and didn't end up wrecking.
You got to be gutted for Fody there, as he had for a while no one helping him behind, and that allowed Nick Massey to have that middle lane all to himself and get in front and still have, a really good finish there. But here comes Chris Wright. We didn't talk about Chris Wright at all, and look at him getting into a top 5 spot.
We didn't talk about Matthew Weeks either. He finishes this race in 7th. Just a wild finish there where, the outside lane surged, the inside lane fell apart, and tough, heartbreaking finish there for Frank Fody. We'll take a look at it on the bottom. Once Scott Crump got turned sideways, it seemed like it was all over. Just a little bit of the push off the bottom of the racetrack like we saw from Fody to Wyatt Nadel in the first race, and it winds up costing poor Frank down here. And Frank's just trying to stay behind Ethan Stanley. You can tell that was the order, and just wasn't enough.
Was not enough. No, it was not. As Tucker is burning it down on the front stretch here, able to get the win. And we'll be sharing that for the first week here, the ability to say that he is a points leader with Harry, as both of them winning their respective duels and now rocket themselves up the point standings by a measly 1 point over their other competitor. But
yeah, let's grab painter extraordinaire and second place finisher in this race, Jonathan Cutlip. And John, good finish there. You almost had it, but ultimately you decided to push your good buddy David Tucker to the win, and got to feel good to have, I think, 2 of your paints come through and win both of these first 2 races.
It is. I'm extremely proud of both races, being able to get solid finishes and good starting positions for the 500 next week.
Absolutely. Again, congratulations on getting that second spot. Good points going towards your name, as you know how difficult it is in the regular season to get those points going your way. Is this a good start to the speed weeks for you?
Yeah, it's a pretty solid starting it out with a P2. Hopefully we can do 1 spot better in the 500, but I'm not going to complain about a second. Glad to see Tucker get a win here. He's had awful luck at play tracks. I know he's capable of doing it. It's just he has bad luck all the time here. It's cool to see him grab a win.
Awesome, man. Well, John, any shout outs for us before we send you off after a really good start in a race you were strong in? And I guess one thing before that, anything you can take into the Daytona 500 next week?
Not really. It's just kind of different race, long race, just endurance, and hopefully you're there at the end to battle it out. But yeah, I'd like to thank you guys, Dave, you, D-West, Gerald, for putting this together for us to watch back later. Elite, Chad, every admin, even though I'm part of it, but it's a lot of hard work to put this together week after week.
Well, we do appreciate, John, and We know it's not going to be the last time we speak to you, as your career in Elite just keeps getting higher and higher, and a good way to be able to get yourself a really good starting spot here for the Home Place Beer Daytona race coming up next week. But overall, congratulations on getting some points your way, and we'll talk to you again before it's all said and done, I'm sure.
Please so. Thank you.
That was Jonathan Cutlip here. I do see down there that we have David Tooker. Do you want to bring in David Tooker first, or we want to do Nick Massey, the transfer?
Let's grab race winner David Tooker first.
Thank you for pushing that. That was crazy.
Yeah, David, congratulations on the win. Sorry I pulled you out of the conversation, but big win on this one. You're going to be tied for the points lead with Ole Harrison Talon. Take us through the race tonight and what it took to get you the win tonight.
Man, David, I don't even know what to call that. That's just luck. I should have been wrecked at least 5 or 6 times there throughout that entire run. We were right smack in the middle of both of those wrecks and were able to miss both of them. I had multiple cars wrecking in front of me on 2 different occasions there. But no, I think the call was I saw John up in the top lane. I knew that was going to be my best chance. He had been working with me all night long. We were working together earlier in the stint, earlier in the heat as well. So it was just a matter of just trying to find your teammates or your affiliations and who you work well with. And I felt like me and John definitely were able to work well throughout that entire race. But it was just that restart definitely opened up a lot of things for me. I think the top line kind of stalled out through the middle of 1 and 2, and I was able to carry a lot of momentum, at least able to get clear of that top lane, and I knew that was going to be the lifesaver there. And then Hosek jumped in front of us, which was a smart move. And at that point, he bailed to the middle trying to get past Crump, but Crump played a beautiful block on him. And I knew I just had to stay committed to a lane I couldn't follow. I just had to stay where I was, and just got it on the lucky end. Got a good push from John all the way off of 4 and kept us out front. So that, if anything, that win goes to him. That was awesome there.
Well, we saw. I mean, it really worked out for you. Kind of played the high side game all the way out to the end of it and everything, and it was kind of tricky because you had to play how high could you go, and how difficult was it to try to make sure you didn't go up too high, because that seemed to be the killer for a lot of guys, is they went up too high, made contact with the wall. How difficult was the car handling whenever you're trying to make those moves on the high side?
Oh, it was definitely difficult. I mean, with the way this car works in the side draft, it definitely, once you get to the outside of somebody, it pushes the car around a lot. And I knew that going up to that wall up in 3 and 4 on the last lap. Once we got split middle, or once I was up high, 3 wide up top, I knew I just had to keep it off the wall. And luckily, I'm pretty good with the spatial awareness of this car. So I was just worried I was going to hook Hosek in the middle. That was my biggest concern. I just knew I had to either put it on the wall or keep it as close as I could, and we did that. And I think just the biggest thing, like you said, everybody I felt like was dragging the wall there going into 3 and 3 and 1. I'm not sure what it is. I feel like they altered a little bit of this package a little bit. I noticed when you lock bumpers with guys, you don't necessarily carry the momentum quite as well. And then when you do get separated, the air bubble gets put in between you, and it almost makes the car even tighter. So luckily, we didn't have to deal with that being the lead car there, but I definitely feel like we had some luck into our finish there. But we're feeling pretty good about it. I usually don't finish too well here, so the fact that we've gotten the podium in the clash the other day and a win here in the duel, we're looking pretty good for the 500, hopefully.
Yeah, that was going to be my question for you, was what are you going to take to the 500 from this duel race, and I guess from the clash as well, or are you just banking that you haven't used up all your good luck just yet?
That's definitely what we're banking on. When it comes down to the 500, my luck hasn't been too well. I think my highest finish has been 7th. The rest have been in the 30s. So, I'm definitely hoping that carries over to the next one. But I think if anything, we're going to carry over definitely a lot more patience. Just a long race. It's an exhibition. It's a marathon, not an exhibition. So. You just got to play a little bit smarter. Hopefully we can keep it clean for the first half and give ourselves a good run towards the end. But
I learned a lot there with how this car handles now and how the car works. It definitely works a little different than it was on Monday with the Clash. So I'm glad we were able to figure that out going into it. But no, we're feeling pretty good about our Daytona 500 chances, and now we're starting closer towards the front. So that couldn't ask for much better than that.
Well, we want to go ahead and let you do your thank yous and shout outs because there's a lot involved over there at Pro Edge. We know that as far as sponsorship and all the teamwork over there. But we want to go ahead and let you do your thank yous and shout outs to having such a great start for weeks here.
Yeah, I want to give a huge shout out, like you said, everybody at Pro Edge Racing. We're working well at these plate races. I feel like I've definitely changed up my game and approach to these plate races. I used to play the patient game, but now it's just I can't. You gotta just put yourself towards the front as much as possible, and I felt like I did that tonight as well as my teammates. I feel like Tate and Zeus or Matthew Weeks kind of got stuck in the back there, unfortunately, and couldn't really climb their way up. We were working well with Clark too, but he unfortunately got a little bit of a late block put on him. But it is what it is. That's racing. Like nothing we can do about it. But like I said, everybody at Pro Edge Racing did a great job tonight. John, especially over at JD Designs, he painted this beautiful car for me. So huge shout out to him and his company. If you guys need a paint scheme, he's definitely the man. And all of our sponsors, Belly Up, Worldwide Technology, Raceway, JD Designs, Blue Egg, everybody that's involved with making this league run as well as it does. And I'm excited for this season. We got a new partnership with Johnny and his Belly Up crew. So far we're starting off pretty good. And also want to thank everybody at Elite, all of our admin, and also you guys up in the booth for what you do up here. Really appreciate it.
Thank you a lot, Tooker, and we hope to see you more. Gonna have that fourth place starting spot for the Daytona 500 here, so we'll see how you're able to make it work for you going forward. But overall, again, congratulations to you and to Pro Edge. We're gonna go ahead and bring up Nick Massey, our open driver. We kind of questioned Nick Massey was going to make it into the show with how many issues that kept going his way, but in the end, able to get that middle lane working at the last moment there and work around to the outside of Frank Foti. I don't know if it was the most popular move based off of the chat because they were kind of all rooting for Foti, but I'm happy you made it, Nick, especially since I picked you to win the championship this season. It's nice to see that you were able to make it into the at least into the Daytona 500 here.
Yeah, I forgot you did that. I appreciate that. Trying to make you proud up there. But yeah, no, I mean Frank and those guys are in a great race. They were top 5 the whole night, and I was struggling to work my way up there the whole night. I just whatever lane I picked was the wrong one and go backwards. And coming down to the end, I was like, man, maybe they didn't take enough fuel for these green white checkers. And I was like, man, like I got to make something happen here. So I kind of shot the middle there. And thankfully Justin Fuller went with me behind me, and I got a big push and was able to squeeze it out literally at the line and make the transfer spot.
Yeah, Nick, and were you able to find friends out there, or is there anything that you can kind of bring or get better at between now and next week for the 500?
I feel like this package was just way different than. I mean, I didn't run the Daytona 500 last season, but different than 2 seasons ago. It seemed to be more dependent on. I don't know how to explain it. More tame, I suppose. Like it was harder to pick and work your way forward because just you pick the wrong lane, you're going backwards. Like there's really no moves to make. But my Mountain Man Motorsports over there, I had 3 or 4 of them in the duel with me. We were all trying to work together, but it's just so difficult to get all lined up and actually make the line move. I mean, I think you guys saw a lot of team cars up there trying to make the top work, the bottom work, but most of them would just go right backwards. So I don't know. I wish I was more up front to kind of figure out what to do to stay up there and be fast pushing. But yeah, definitely a little bit of a learning curve with its new package change.
Again, good run for you. Good points even going to your way with a 6th place finish. You get some points going towards your name as well. We saw you get sideways there. I mean, how? And we saw a couple of cars get hit and they just didn't turn around. Is this car harder to spin out? I mean, that's the real question David and I had in this race was just the difficulty of getting a car completely turned around.
Yeah, I think I was in about 3 wrecks tonight, but I never was in one bad enough to get damaged. I was kind of just scraping doors or bumpers or something, but so got pretty lucky on that end. Was able to get up there at the end, but I don't know. I've never enjoyed getting pushed in these cars. It seems like when you get shoved, it just the steering. There's no feedback in the steering, if that makes sense. So you're kind of not really feeling the front wheels, and it's kind of weird. But yeah, it looked like guys were, usually you see guys get jacked up and almost spun around a couple times, but didn't really see a whole lot of that tonight. So maybe these cars are a little more stable. I was never, like I said, I was never up front to get shoved like that, but I think I kind of got a little lucky with some netcode too a couple times, but.
Well, you can say now you're locked in. One of 3 people out of the 18 that showed up that are going to be able to race in the big race. So just that alone is accomplishment. So you're pretty much racing with house money now coming into the Daytona 500, and hopefully we can see something made from.
Yeah, hopefully we can keep qualifying our way into these races here. Got some work to do to start the season now, but good start. Good to be back in it. You think, being a past winner up here, it'd be some provisional or something, but I guess not. No, I'm just kidding.
just a name. We did mention that you were a champion in the Daytona race, but it's just a name. It doesn't. You have to earn it every time you show up, isn't it?
Yeah, that's for sure. But yeah, definitely got a little bit of pressure on me this season. Gerald picked me to win the championship out of the gate, so trying to show up strong.
Well, that was before I knew you were an open driver, but so far, you're that doesn't seem to be hindering you too much, as you'll have a shot at being able to go for a Daytona championship, maybe your second. So we'll see how that works for you, Nick. Congratulations on making it into the show, one of the 3 that were able to tonight, and we'll see how that all plays out for you. But other than that. It's been a long night, but it has been some really fun races, qualifying, a lot to talk about, a lot to discuss on my podcast that we're going to be doing tomorrow. And overall, Dave, I had a lot of fun tonight.
So did I. This was a good set of races, and I think next week is going to be a bit chaotic, but it's going to be a good time if these guys can keep it somewhat clean and get some green flag pit stops in.
Yeah, you're not going to want to miss it. You're going to want to tune in, as we're going to go for the 10th running of the Home Place Beer Corporation Daytona 500, our 10th running of the Daytona 500. And we're going to crown another champion, maybe a back-to-back champion, maybe a new champion. We'll see how that all plays out. You're not going to want to miss it. You're going to tune on to hear the Elite Racing Network next Wednesday. From everyone over here, we appreciate you. Thank you, Dave, for bringing us this wonderful broadcast here and showing these wonderful pictures to everyone at home. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, and we appreciate everyone here at the Elite Racing Network that makes this all happen. We hope to see you again. Have yourself a wonderful night, and we'll have some more fun in Speed Weeks all across the board. Thank you.